gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Crypto Night Show. Your host, Superman, in the house. As we always say, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope you guys enjoy the show. We have got tons of alpha dropping in the show, so you've come to the right place. You guys know I love PulseChain, love crypto, and of course, we're going to have a fun time. This bull market is going to be absolutely epic. Now, the one thing you can do is get in the chat and let us know what you think is doing really well, and what you like, and stuff like that. So get in there, and yeah, it's a shill day today. So just don't overshill, but you can shill your favorite projects. Get in there today on the chat. That's how we can go there. All right, let's have a look here. We're gonna post in the little show here. So if you're on X, repost. If you're on YouTube, share the channel around. That really helps a lot. So repost show on X and get out there and do that. That'd be really, really cool. And bam, let's post it in. We've got a few people in the house already. We're going to get to that in a minute, next minute, as we say. So that is it. Repost on X, and that really helps with the algorithm. Get out there, folks, and do that. And also on YouTube. We're streaming on 3 YouTube channels. Superman Crypto, PulseChain X, a big shout out to people over there, and of course the Crypto Night Show as well. So that's looking pretty good. We're also on X live streaming right now, which is pretty fantastic. All right, so let's get into it. Big shout out to MVS Crip out there. He's doing some great stuff in the X spaces. We're going to be doing lots more of that on the Crypto Night Show, and of course, it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, Brian, good to see you, Brian. Hope you're doing well over in the good old US of A. I think it's up near the Great Lakes of America. What are there? 5 Great Lakes? I think that's right. 5 Great Lakes, is it? Probably the viewer in the house says, go, Superman. I appreciate that. Big shout out. Yeah, I'm absolutely loving the intro. I don't know about you guys, but I really, really enjoyed the intro. Pretty awesome. I am starting the show about an hour late. So there we go. Normally 8 p.m. Eastern. Today, of course, 9 p.m. Clintron says, g'day, crew. Good to see you, Clintrons. And, of course, Hexcavator as well. Hey. The big USA. Excavator drives the big excavators. And is single-handedly making the golden age of America come true. Big shout out there. Hedgehog in the house there. Woo! Hey, good to see you as well. Yeah, I'm feeling in a pretty good mood. I think we got some pretty good things happening in the charts. We've got a lot of cool things happening from the project teams. On-ramps, of course. We're going to be talking about big-time on-ramps today and give you a little bit of secret sauce. We've got Excavator as well. Says hit the like and share. Definitely do that. Yeah, definitely share the channel on X. All it takes is 1 second to hit your repost button, and off you go. That's all we can say. We're at Ryan Markham in the house there. Says Blocky gonna send on Solana. There we go. So that's Solana chain. Big shout there, Ryan. And we got Brian in the house. Woohoo! Let's go. That's the way we go on the show. So without further ado, let's get into some of the main stuff we're going to be talking about today. I'm just scrolling down here just to see what I've been talking about. Quite a lot of stuff. So actually, we might go through a little bit of this, but we actually might come back to it as well. Actually, I'm going to move a lot of this stuff. If you guys didn't check out the SJ, a Wild SJ interview yesterday, was fantastic. What a wonderful person, and we had a great time on that show. So check that out. A Wild SJ, a very, very popular, positivity princess, basically, on PulseChain. Has done so much good stuff serving the community. And of course, one of the key things that shows some love is serving others, right? That's the thing. So pretty awesome there coming from a Wild SJ. Pretty awesome. All right, without further ado, let's get into some of the cool stuff here. We're going to get straight into the thread and talk about the weekly PulseChain weekly monster thread. And of course, the chief author there at the moment is MVS Crip, and he is crushing it. He's also out in the X Spaces, having a good time as well. Howdy, folks. Says Brennan. Good to see you, Brennan, in the house. Yeah, so we got the weekly thread here. Now, many of you may have seen it. If you haven't seen it, it's basically the last week's biggest events, so the greatest hits of the last week, and also gets deep and wide in the community. It's not just all the big people that you hear about. It's a lot of medium-sized people, a lot of small people, lots of people doing different stuff over PulseChain. So it really, truly is a representative of many of the cool things happening every week on PulseChain. I think that's a wonderful, wonderful thing. So everyone gets to be seen, and there's some very cool stuff happening in all corners of the PulseChain ecosystem. So it is a great place to be in terms of a read. There is covering pretty much everything on there. I'm not going to read it out today, but you guys can go through. The main post has a lot of the hot stuff happening on PulseChain. A big, small, medium is there, and of course covering a lot of people doing a lot of cool things, and that is pretty exciting. But today we're going to move forward into the sub post, right? So the sub post there, we're going to be looking at some of the rising stars on PulseChain. And the first one we're going to talk about, of course, is one dear to my heart here, Heartwood Dog, the Pulse of the Fallen anime series, which has gone viral. And I think this is going to be one of the key artistic projects and themes on PulseChain as we go through this bull market. It's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And of course, they've got 10 episodes, right? 10 episodes. I'm going to post the link to this in the chat there so you guys can have it, check it out, and share it around too. If you've got people coming on, coming onto the chain, you definitely want to check it out, right? You just definitely want to share this. This is kind of the ultimate thing to share. Every single week it's going to be coming out, which is going to be pretty incredible. So this is the PulseChain monster thread, and it's the weekly one, right? So I should probably put weekly in front of it as well. PulseChain weekly monster thread. Now we're going to have more publications coming out, which is going to be really exciting. So you're going to keep looking out for that. It's coming. And we've got another one that's going to not be too far away. PulseChain weekly monster thread, and that is going to be coming out soon. So, our new one's going to be coming out soon. Let's say that much. So that is the thread there. Check it out, and but I might put a couple of those in there so you can see the difference. We've got a few more people in the chat as well. We've got Trent in the house. Let's go, yeah, boy, up the blues, says Brennan. And Crypto Jack's in the house with the Superman. I love that. And of course, smash those likes and subscribe. That's absolutely right. Hey, look, share the channel around, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hit the like buttons. You're only helping your own bags because, the more that we can rank up the algorithms on both YouTube and X, the more you get more eyes on pumping your bags. It's kind of one way to look at it, right? The commercial enterprise. That is the link, of course, to the PulseChain Weekly Monster Thread. That was published on Sunday, Monday, depending on where you are in the world. And, of course, it backtracks the previous week. So definitely read it, have a read, and share it around. It's pretty amazing there. So getting some awesome feedback on it too. But I wanted to focus on some of the rising stars that are attached to it as well in the sub post. So we've got Pulse of the Fallen. I think this is going to be huge. I really love what they're doing. They're bringing in a lot of the key influencers. You got Somi, you got many others in there. There's going to be Crypto Coffee is going to be next, but there's going to be lots of different influencers in there. There's already quite a few, I think, possibly Abit or people like that are in there. It's pretty awesome. So definitely got to check that out. There's going to be a lot of characters, and I think you're going to see a lot of cool things happening in the space from Heartwood Dog. And the main character, of course, in the Pulse of the Fallen series is Hog, right? Hog is the main character, and it's going to be pretty fun. Now, there's lots of twists to turn. This thing goes up and down. It is crazy. I love it. And, of course, you'll be kept guessing every single publication that comes out. Now, there's only been 10 chapters so far. The last one was the big popular one, Conor McGregor, right? Hog was fighting Conor McGregor. There was also a fight breakout there with Somi and Pikachu. And it was pretty crazy stuff happening, right? There's also celebrities in this show, in this anime series as well. So a lot of people, a lot of big celebrities that you're familiar with will also be seeing this. And look, some of them may end up on PulseChain, right? They see this anime series, and then they end up hearing about PulseChain. And, we welcome more celebrities in the world onto PulseChain. It's just part of the bull market, man. And I think it's a great job. So obviously there's all the details there about the socials, about the chart. They have their own token, Hog, and it's pretty awesome there. So you definitely check it out. 10 chapters so far. There's going to be over 100. Can you believe it? And, of course, there's going to be many of your favorite, influencers and celebrities and, of course, other fictional characters in there as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun there. You can see some of the action. It's pretty awesome there from Pulse of the Fallen. It's pretty cool. Now, it also has cool voiceovers too, I must say. So the Conor McGregor sounded pretty realistic. It's pretty realistic there. All right, so the next one we got, of course, is Nuclear collab. What we're seeing is a lot more collaborations. In fact, MVS is our promotional lead for the Crypto Night Show, does a wonderful job editing this monster thread, and of course does X spaces and everywhere. And he's really taking our ethos forward, right? Which is a lot of collaborations. We want to see, a lot of the rising stars get really good attention, and that's happening very well. As you guys know, we've got the first professional promotion service on PulseChain, and boy, is it going very well indeed. And of course, some of the best tokenomics in the small and medium sized projects which gives a lot of great opportunity for people to get into some of the best performing and innovative DeFi tokenomics. So it's pretty awesome there. So we've got here the Radon and Club 369, and this has been a pretty exciting collab that is out at the moment, which is pretty cool. Now I'm going to post the link to all these actually in the chat there as we go. So this one here is going to be the hog post, so you can check that out as well. Let me post that in there while I'm here. Might as well do this. Might as well do a really good job. Might as well do a really good job. So that is where we are there at the moment. So that is the weekly monster thread, and of course, hey, we've got MBS in the house there. Big shout out. Please cover the live spaces. Okay, we'll go to the live spaces as well. We got Pukadu as well. Pukadu in the house there. What's up, Superman? Hey, good to see Pukadu. A big shout out to you. And yeah, that is the hog post that we just covered. So check that out as well and repost that. It's going to be huge, man. Honestly, I think the anime series is going to be absolutely massive. Now, the next one, of course, we're going to get up to, of course, is this collab between Radon and a Club 369. In fact, I think we've got like MBS said, I think there's a X space on at the moment. Let's quickly have a look at that. So yeah, X space is on. Look at that. So that is the X space doing pretty well, and you can check that out as well. I'll post a link to that. But before I do, let me check out this post here for Radon and Club 369. So that is in the house there. The artwork is next level, as you can see. But man, the collaboration is pretty awesome. They're going to be combining a lot of decent features there. You can check that out. So two projects collaborating. We're going to see a lot more of this, right? So farms collaborating, innovative tokenomic projects collaborating, meme coins, things like that. There's going to be a big theme that we're going to see more of, right? Pretty awesome. You can see some of the cool tokenomics around the taxes for Club 369 and Radon as well. So that's two projects collaborating together. You can see Radon's, the tokenomics there also, and the socials as well. So pretty awesome. And the artwork is next level, of course, as well. So you can check out that. That's Radon and 369. So we're going to post that as well. So that's Radon and Club 369. And of course, don't forget to get in the chat there also and post some of your favorite projects at the moment. That'd be cool. Let me know in the chat there. This is pretty much a fun day covering a lot of projects, and particularly the rising stars. That is Radon and Club 369. Now, talking about that, MVS is actually in a X space at the moment. Radon joins the PulseChain now. So Radon, here's another collaboration. Saw a collaboration with Radon and Club 369. Now we see Radon with the PulseChain. And of course, they're now announcing a nuclear activities. This new activity is going to be pretty awesome. You can obviously see this has got a lot of chemistry in it with Radon there. And pretty sure it's on a periodic table. Was it number 68 or something? It's on there. And of course, the old periodic tables theme keeps going with the chemistry. And they've got some nuclear activities being announced there with Radon. So I'm going to post a link in that as well. You can definitely check that out, and I'll repost that too. So there we go, repost there. And great, I'm going to write great collab because I love collaborations. Great collab. What's that? Radon, and I guess and we've got to find the and button here. Where's the and button gone? And Radon. Was it PulseChain? Yeah, Pulse. Many of you would have heard of PulseChain, of course. PulseChain, and bam, that is it. So nice. All right. And that is the one there. So you can see the X space. Obviously, there's people in there at the moment. You guys can check that out if you want to, jump in there maybe after the live stream or something like that. Heartwood Dog says Radon has killer art. I know, it's next level. That's something else you guys are going to see, especially coming out of lots of these teams, is amazing artwork, which is going to lift the whole game across PulseChain. And of course, from our point of view, from the Crypto Night Show with MVS and myself, and we've got a whole bigger team around us. You're going to see a lot more of movie level artwork coming out into the PulseChain. And we've got a lot of cool artists out there that are doing a great job. Mr. H, and of course, Next, and everyone else is doing a fantastic job out there with the artwork. This is going to be a really big thing, because how do you grab people's attention, right? You need great artwork. And that includes little mini movies and cool anime comics. It's going to be a really cool theme moving forward to PulseChain. You got to grab the attention from people, right? It's great. You could have the greatest project in the world, but if you're not promoting, if you're not got the great artwork to attract people's attention, no one's going to see it really. No one's going to spread it around, right? So it's a bit like that. And look, you've got to experiment a little bit and play around, but you get there in the end, and that's the key thing there. So pretty cool. So that's the Radon X space. I'm just going to post that in the chat there. Bam. All right. You can check that out later on. All right, man, this is going to be pretty awesome. I said we were going to cover meet the rising stars, and this is just the beginning, guys. There's going to be so much cool stuff we're covering in the months ahead. It's going to be absolutely epic. So kind of cool. All right, big shout out to Crypto MVS there. If you want to get some promotional work as well, hit us up. Hit myself or MVS up, Crypto MVS on that. Pretty cool. Now, next one I want to talk about, and this one is really innovative. At first, I was like, "Whoa, a ferret," and it's like it reminds me of the bobbing cat. The bobbing cat. But this one here is like the ferret, and of course, maybe ferrets bob too. They do the bobbing. Yeah, this one's called Saya. It just launched, the cutest, bullish ferret on PulseChain. And the cool thing I like that, apart from it being Spirit Tomb's a pet, is the fact that will be trading. It's going to be one of those. You remember the octopus that used to do the political trading? Used to choose which political party was going to win. It was pretty accurate, I think, up to like maybe recently or whatever. I remember it was pretty damn accurate. And then, of course, I think it did get one wrong. I'm not sure. But that was the octopus. Well, this is ferret, which is going to be making trades. It's going to have this ferret called Saya. It's going to have its own what are called portfolio. It's going to have its own treasury from taxes from the token, and it's going to be making trades. And I think that's pretty cool, right? Just like we got the anime series, I think this is kind of another cool artistic way of combining artistry with DeFi. And I think that's really cool. So this is a pet Saya, and boy, they've done pretty well. You can see, of course, the owner there, which is Spirit Bomb, I guess, or Spirit Tomb. You can see in there with the ferret as well. I'm going to open that up a little bit there. You can see the ferret there, very cute. If you like ferrets, and of course they are cute little critters, aren't they? Look, cute little critters. Now there is some cool stuff there. Obviously, you've got the socials and the chart. You can check all that out too. Saya is live. And you can also check out the portfolio of Saya the ferret. So you can actually check the actual portfolio. You can track the value of the portfolio, what the ferret is buying, what Saya is buying, and of course the treasury as well, which fills up with a little bit of taxes from the tokenomics, right? So kind of cool. It's also part of a wider ecosystem with DGS and STB, and you can see some of the cool animations there. So not bad. Now that is from Saya. I'm going to post the link to that as well. Some of the rising stars on PulseChain, some innovative stuff as well. And Saya there, and you can check that out. That is Saya. All right, who else we got in the chat here? We got Crypto Jack says Incognito is looking like it's going to fly soon. Yeah, Incognito's been performing pretty well a lot of times, isn't it? It's from memory. We might check that out when we get to the full chart set. We got Crypto Night Show there posting in the Saya. Check it out. A pet called Saya, a ferret that is trading. I think that's pretty cool. That's certainly going to garner the attention of a lot of people. And, do Spirit Tomb there. I definitely encourage you to post videos of the trades being made. I think that would be very trendy, and I'd love to see that. So, there we are. Put a bit of heart in that, saying Say make the trades, and I'm sure that's going to happen. All right, the next one, of course, is a very, very popular, right? Emmett Farms. Of course, Emmett Farms, pretty well-established brand now on PulseChain. Of course, the founder is Kairos. And man, he has done something very different to farms to make them very sustainable over long periods of time, and yet keep the APR up pretty high. And so I think that's pretty cool. So well done to Kairos and Emmett Farms. Of course, they're partnering with multiple other teams in the farms, and not only they put the LP there, but they actually do a lot of cross promotion together. And I think that's a really great idea. Right, I just really like the idea of collabs. I think there's a lot of synergies between project teams. And of course, a farm is a very obvious one because people can put LP in there and then get extra rewards, right? Rather than just fees in the LP pools on PulseX, they can then go and get themselves some Emmet tokens and at very sophisticated, clever token emissions on the old Emmet farm, and of course helps keep the APR up very, very nicely. And of course, we're expecting another big project, I think, from Emmet farm as well. So if we find out more intel on that, I'll let you know. But that could be pretty upward demand on the token itself. So I'm going to be looking forward to that. But Emmet Farm there's got some pretty exciting pools. You can see the Emmet Island Farm, at least at the time of publication. Don't know what it is right now. But Emmet Island was 286%, and Island Pulse was 34% APR. So pretty spectacular APRs. Obviously after the Ink token was reduced on PulseX, and of course some of the prices had been pulled back on 9-inch and stuff. The APRs had definitely dropped, especially with bigger liquidity pools. And so, farms like Emmet are looking hot, aren't they? They're looking very hot indeed. So some cool stuff there. I also love the artwork for Emmet. And this is what I'm saying to you guys. We're covering a lot of these cool project teams. We're also helping and support them with a lot of the creative direction as well. But there's also great artists out there doing some amazing stuff. So you're going to see more and more of this sort of movie quality imagery coming out of a lot of these teams, which I think is pretty exciting. So definitely check out Emmett Farms. They've got tons of different yields on there, and I want to highlight a few because this is at the time of writing, so it may have changed a little bit there. But in PulseX you can't get yields like this anymore, right? But here you can, for PulseX, you can get 48% APR. So if you're still after some pretty high yield, you can get it here on Emmett Farm. And there's a lot of different peers here from a lot of different teams. I don't know how many teams have got on there now, but 10 to 15. It just seems a lot. Maybe 10 teams, a lot of teams. So you can definitely check all that out. So yeah, all the socials are there, all the website and everything else, and of course you can buy Emmett on the market there. All right, so let's post that. There's the Emmett Farm. So big shout out to Kairos and the Emmett team. Definitely rising star on PulseChain. So Emmett Farm there, and of course you can get some pretty good yields. And everyone that likes yield farming, that is a cool benefit for sure. So definitely check that out. That is Emmett Farm. Big shout out to Kairos out there innovating, and I understand he's got something new coming. So yeah, looking forward to that. And yeah, he really reaches across a lot of teams. So big shout out for doing all that. Collabs, a big part of the future, I think. Now another one, of course, is Function Island, and this is another farm play. This is really early alpha. A lot of people want to be early on projects. Well, this is early because you're getting in before the big launch. Now the farm is going to be called a yield farm, and the token is yield. So it is the actual automatic name is yield. That's going to be what the token is going to be. And that's from Function Island. So you're definitely going to get in early on that. So if you get into the socials, you'll be able to find out kind of when it launches there. And we've got a sneak peek of the farm that it's going to be when it goes live. So Function Island is already existing, but this is going to be a new farm on there called Yield Farm. So you've got a little sneak peek right there. And you definitely want to, be early on these things in particular because it's your best chance of getting the highest yield. And it's got all the socials there as well as the chart. So for tokens there, so you can read it all. It's got a great write up there, so looking pretty good. So check that out and join the Function Island, as we say, or as Rastafari Function Island. I got to get into my accents there. I got to get my accents, but definitely check that out. That is Function Island, and you're getting early alpha there because they're going to be launching that new farm. Which is going to be pretty cool, called Yield. So Function Island. An Island token is already trading, right? So check that out. And that is Yield Farm launch. So let's post a link to that. So that is the link, and you can get access to that now. So check it out. Do your due diligence, of course, and get into the socials if you want to be early on that. Because a lot of people miss farms early, right? And you're going, wow, I could have got that much percent. And, you've got to get in early on these things. Function Island, of course, has got an amazing developer. So you're in good hands there with good old Donny D. A very clever guy. Very clever guy indeed. All right, so that is looking pretty good. Now, obviously, the show is in the house there with the Kryptonite show. So obviously we're here every day, just about, take a day off here and there, but we're out and about, and if you want to get a lot of promotional support, definitely hit up either Crypt MVS or myself. And of course, you've got a potential reach of up to 35,000 people, so that can really help your project along. But we do do a lot of help with creative work, creative direction, strategic direction. So that's a lot of help to a lot of teams as well. People might be good at programming, they might be good at talk to people one-on-one, but maybe they don't have the reach and don't have the know-how to really get their projects out there. You can be a small project, a medium project, or a big project. We're there to help and and guide you there. And we love win-win outcomes, right? That's a win-win outcomes. That is the future of PulseChain, right? So it's going to be a lot of fun. All right, so that is pretty much it on the Monster Thread Weekly. The next one's coming out next Sunday, Monday. And if you want to get in on that one, then hit us up at Crypt MVS or myself with the promotions crew there. The first professional promotions team on PulseChain, as far as I'm aware. So get out there and hit us up anytime, either in our Telegram, in our Discord, however you want to get hold of us, you can do that. All right, we've got some new products coming up. We've got some new products, and we are really innovating and researching and doing everything else so to make life easy for you, right? To make life easy for you. Now, we're going to move into the markets now. So let's go into the stock market. Of course, it is Wednesday here in New Zealand, so it's the Tuesday results. So let's check out US stock futures. Are steady, of course, with NVIDIA earnings. So kind of cool. I think US had a holiday, didn't it? Had a holiday. So I think, what's it called? Inauguration Day or something? You guys let me know. I've forgotten what it is, but I'm pretty sure the US had a holiday on that one. So we're going to be covering the US markets probably tomorrow. I'm pretty sure. What day is it? Yeah, I think that was the case. Yeah, I think that was a holiday. So, but the futures, if I look at the futures in any case, futures are up slightly there. And of course, we had a good day there on the Dow Jones previously, 1.8%, 2%, 2.5%. So not bad there as well. So I'm just having a look at the charts here. Yeah, we had a nice big rally in there. Look at that over the last week, Tuesday. At least what's it last? That's the last day, but Tuesday week there. Just Friday, Monday. Yeah, we had a nice rally. What we were down at 41,000, we're up at 42,400. So a pretty good day on the stock market there. Really, really good results. All right, let's jump over to the old crypto, and we can see the crypto markets at the moment $3.56 trillion, and that is looking pretty strong. It's still small, guys. I'm telling you guys. No one's. Are you guys listening? I don't know. I know you guys are listening, but I'm just saying because it's rhetorical. But this is it's 3.5 trillion. This is a small market globally, man. It's small. It's small. I cannot say it enough. We're talking about the biggest markets in the world are derivatives, right? And that's in the quintillions, probably at least at 1 quintillion, if not more. But it's worth that actually having a look actually to see how big the derivatives market is. But it's like massive. 3.5 is just tiny. Gold is like 9-10 times bigger than this, right? So you're talking, I don't know, 27 to 30 billion dollars, trillion dollars, 27 to 30 trillion dollars, and we're only at 3.56. So if you're wondering how can the market get bigger, it's going to get bigger. It's going to get bigger. It's going to get way bigger. And of course, how do we know that? Because every player that can possibly want to play on the crypto market can now do it legally and through custodial. So we've got the ETFs for Ethereum, for Bitcoin. The avenues for the water to flow are there. They're there. That wasn't the case in the last bull market in 21. It is here now. And of course, we also have sovereign states backing it. The US, of course, leading the way with digital strategy, as well as the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, the altcoin stockpile, and we've got all of the 50 US states. Many of them are clamoring to get laws through to be able to invest into crypto. And at the current price, that'd probably be around 200,000 Bitcoin purchasing at the current price. So it is massive. We see that Michael Saylor's continuing to buy more Bitcoin. He thinks this is super cheap. At this price, because he's got forecasts of 2045 of Bitcoin at 30 million. That's his base case. 2045. Yeah, he's got $13 million Bitcoin. So he thinks that buying Bitcoin at $100,000 is just nothing. It's a nothing, right? And he's right, because every player's on the field. And what we see that adoption for institutions. Forget about retail. Retail will always come late, a lot of the retail, because they're just out there doing their thing out in the TradeFi world, right? You go to talk to somebody about crypto that's not in crypto, and they're just oblivious, right? You go talk to someone in CeFi that's not in DeFi, and it's not quite the same thing, but it's almost the same thing. It's like, oh, I'm on Binance. That's all I know. I just know Binance, But in DeFi, you are at the frontier. You are the educated. You're the guy. They're the people that know a lot of stuff about crypto. If you're in DeFi, right? It is a big deal. Now, it's going to be huge, man. Institutions' adoptions is going to ramp up. It does take time, but you got to remember that with the ETFs, since the 10th of January last year, they've been on the phone calling their rich client base, and they move markets, right? The client bases of these big investment firms move markets, and they ring them up and they go, hey. On the other side of the investment firm, what do they have? They have analytical and reports, right? Those move markets. So if they say that a market is going up, a market's going down, all their clients react. They read these updates from them, and then they go, I want to get out of this industry. I want to get into this industry, depending on what is going on for the investors, how it works. And of course, they get on the phone and go, blah, 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 right? And they go, man, get on to this. So it's going to be pretty huge. And this idea that I'm talking about now is going to be hitting PulseChain. I kid you not. We're going to talk about it today. This is alpha dropping today. We're going to hear about it today, and it's going to be pretty epic. So this is the first time I talked about it. So it's coming up. Man, it's going to be so much fun, right? It's going to be so much fun. So this is huge. We got huge upside coming, and this bull market cycle, 150 to 250 is kind of the minimum. That's a 3 to 5x. So the 5x is actually quite a high number relative to the 2021 bull market. But it's because we've got pretty much all the vehicles that we need for investment for every player that's got money on the planet to get into, as well as, of course, the sovereign states now backing it as well, and of course sub-states as too in the US states and elsewhere. And of course, this creates competition around the world to get Bitcoin from other sovereign states, you see, and the institutions flow as well. So it's all going to happen pretty quickly in pretty big increments, and we're excited about where we're heading from now. And as you guys know, that Trump strategy has got to be in place by the 4th of July, and then it's game on, right? Game on. The big tax bill, and of course, all these big trade deals. They're going to get one out from another. And, we've probably got some low-hanging fruit coming out. Japan, South Korea, India, maybe a bit more, middle that might come out a bit later. And then we've got, obviously, the European Union. We've got some, playing going on there, and so on. So, yeah, that's pretty interesting stuff happening there. Now, I don't want to generally talk about geopolitics, but I think that, the Europeans are trying to counter Trump, which they're globalists, right? So you got to remember, these are the evil people of the world, really trying to destroy the West and the rest of it. You guys know the drill. And of course, they have recently, tried to, from the looks of it, tried to take down, Putin's airplane, and that's trying to put Trump on the back foot. You see, so I think there's something playing out there. We might talk about that in another show, but that is, there's a little tricksy schemes going on. These globalists do not want, because they almost had permanent power, right? And that's what they want. They're still not giving up on their permanent power play. So, just they might get slapped around in the plane a lot, like in Macron, in the plane, but they definitely want, might be, taking the white stuff there and from the foreign ministers and things like that, but they definitely still after permanent power, because they know that they were so close to it. And they're going to try to see whether they can try and buy time from Trump. But of course, Trump is going to try and dismantle as much as possible, which makes it very hard for them indeed. So, but it's going to usher in the golden age of America by 4th of July, getting in these trade deals, getting in the tax bill. It's huge for the market. The market will hyper pump on this. This is how big this is, and it's only the 4th of July. It's not very far away. We're just about in June now. So you're talking about 6 weeks. We're going to get alpha news here. It's going to be pretty awesome. So we're in this absolutely crazy time. This next 6 weeks is just the golden age of America starts 4th of July. It's going to be pretty epic. All right, so let's get into the results here. We're down 1.5% today, so a bit of a little pullback. But we've got Bitcoin at the moment at 108,946. Let's just say 109,000. It is up 0.4% in the last 24 hours. Number 2 is Ethereum. It is up 4.5% at 2,652. We got number 4 is XRP, up 1.2%, $2.32. BNB is up 2.6% at $686. Solana is up 2.3% at $176. Number 8 is Dogecoin. It is up 1.5% at 22.6 cents. Cardano or ADA, or Cardano, I guess you might say it, or ADA, is up 1.1% at 75 cents. And finally, number 10 is Tron. It is up 1.8% at just under 28 cents at the moment. So those are a top 10 at the moment. The best performer, of course, is Ethereum, and this is a very positive move, right? Ethereum is up at 4.5% at 2,652. We're going to zoom in on that chart very shortly. The best performer over the last week has been BNB. It is up at 5.4%, followed by Solana at 4.8%. And we know that these kind of meme chains will do pretty well, like Solana. Also, benefiting off the big exploit with SuChain, right? So, or C-Chain, I don't know how people say it differently, but that is also going to benefit from that. So keep a lookout for that. So those are the best performers in the top 10. Let's have a look at the top 100. Hyperliquid, again, continuing to perform. We did have a little close look at that. Was it yesterday or the day before? That was up 36%, and that is not slowing down. I do not see that slowing down. We've got Jupiter there as well, is up 26.8%. WorldCoin, number 3, up 25%. We've seen these appear again. And of course, Virtual Protocol's up 25%. That's been appearing again. So if they keep appearing in these top lists, they've got to be some of the better ones that you probably want to look at if you're looking at the broader crypto. So not PulseChain, not Ethereum per se, but you're looking for some of the best projects generally across crypto. These are probably some of the ones you want to look at and do some research on. And of course, you can join our strategy club as well. Links in the video description to join up. Only $35 a month there. So super, super good value as well. And you get dropped all the alpha there. And we've got a new report actually coming up in a couple of days. This weekend, we'll have a new report. And I've also got a strategy club meeting on this weekend as well, 2 hours after the live show. So you definitely want to join into our strategy club, getting all the alpha. And we've got insights into projects that people would dream about. So you want to get in on that as well. Less propaganda and more real core research, right? That's what you want. So those are kind of the top ones there, followed by Injective, up 22% as well. And look at that underneath, Artificial Super Intelligence Alliance, That's up 18.2%. And we do know that some of these AI ones will probably do pretty well, regardless of actually how materially beneficial they are, just because of the hype around AI. But I would try and get something that actually is materially good as well as hyped. That's probably the way I'd look at it. And of course, you got Quant below there. And look at that dog with hat. And I said to you, if you're after one of the probably underpriced meme coins, dog with hat sitting at number 94, there's probably one you want to consider. So definitely check that out. So there we go. Those are some of our top performers in the last week. Looking at top gainers today, Teller's Tributes up 55%. BC Game is up 47%. I think that's the second day that's been up, actually, BC Game coin. And then Baby Boom token up 28% as well. Trending, Wallet Connect token and Cetus protocol. Funnily enough, obviously Cetus with the hack, of course, on PulseChain and Bluefin. In fact, let's have a quick look at Cetus Chain and see it's having a bit of a rebound today. And of course, it's got a warning here. A security incident has been reported on Cetus protocol. No kidding. No kidding. What was it? 220 million or so. That was on the monster thread, by the way, that story. It was a big deal because of what it do. It highlighted how good PulseChain really is, right? PulseChain and PulseX. So very cool. Now, they also highlighted, that there's a lot of inside jobs out there potentially. There's also issues with using centralized oracles as well, if you've got some issue like that. So we'll see what the fallout is as well. The other thing, of course, they managed the PulseChain and their partners managed to freeze a lot of the funds. So the hacker only had about 60 million out of that 220. It's just shows you 160 million was freezed. And of course, that's not real DeFi. It's not real crypto. I mean, obviously, it's good for recovery for all the people that had money pulled out of all those pools, but it's not really great for freedom and crypto, is it really? There's a trade-off between that. So obviously, safety is a big priority when you got freedom, right? Because you want to make sure things are secure. Now, obviously, we've seen big sell-off there. That's on the max chart there. So look at the last week. It's kind of the chart there. We're up at 24 cents, came all the way down to 12 cents, and is back up here at 16 cents at the moment on the old Cetus protocol. Number 440 at the moment, up to 29%. Welcome to crypto, folks. Welcome to crypto. Pretty fast repricing there. Obviously, because they managed to, secure most of the funds. 60 million. What's 60 million amongst friends when you get the 160 million? I don't know. You decide. But that's kind of where it is at the moment. Bit of a rebound. So that leads us into Bitcoin chart. And as you guys know, we've been following this in pretty good detail. So let's have a look at this chart here. We've still got a golden cross playing out. So we've had golden cross after golden cross on the move up as we push higher into this bull market. And really, we're only really getting into that early stage of the takeoff, really, right where we are now, I would say, is the takeoff phase. Really, we're at 108,000. If we're going to head to 150 to 250, you can see this is probably really that takeoff stage for the next big hyper move. And as we get over 100K, you guys know there's a bit of a number bias, so we can move up at faster rates, 20K in a day, things like that. We might start seeing more of those sort of things as we move up higher and higher and higher. You can imagine once we get into the hundreds of thousands, of course, that we could start moving 100,000 in a day potentially. I mean, that's definitely possible. We're going to hit some new record books, right? If we're up $1 million and we move 10% a day, that's 100,000 US dollars. That's exactly the price of Bitcoin now. So you get my point. It's going to be pretty crazy in the future as we go up and up and up. And as we get up to $10 million Bitcoin, maybe by 2040, we got $10 million Bitcoin. Well, we could have $1 million day moves, right? That's 10%. So it really does get crazy with these numbers. And of course, this here looks like a fraction at the moment. Hence why, Michael Saylor's buying so much more Bitcoin. And of course, we've got another golden run up here. We're definitely testing this area. We had resistance here and we're testing it now. And of course, if we break that, consolidate, and then break that to the upside. Like I say, over the next 6 weeks, we've definitely got the news for it, right? We've got all these potential big trade deals and, of course, the big tax bill. So those will be seen by the market as hyper pumpamental. That it could be really big time to the upside. So we are in, I think, relatively the safest zone for that. Now, obviously, we've still got to keep on tabs on the economic stuff. We have seen some, better employment numbers. Inflation really is not that high. And therefore, if we get an interest rate cut, that could be the turn of the altcoin season. It could be the interest rate cut itself. And we also might see Richard Hart react to that as well with some of the magic stuff on the chain. So let's see how that goes also. But, man, 4th of July, a pretty key date for us for sure. And, of course, if we take the old ruler here, we move all the way to the 4th of July, that would be 68 days from now, 68 days. So you got to accumulate and bide your time, and we could have some glory all the way through to that, and then maybe we might get a big announcement on the 4th, or maybe even just after it, maybe on the 7th, around the new era, right? We also got some on the 9th. We've also got the tax, the 90-day extension as well for the world's tariffs also expiring as well. So that's all going to loom around that period, around the 4th of July. So it's going to be firecrackers then, guys. Firecrackers. And who knows where this chart could be by then. 150K Bitcoin, 130K Bitcoin. It's going to be pretty fun within 68 days. And it's going to happen pretty fast, no doubt. All right, looking pretty good. Let's have a quick look at some of the cool stuff there. Now, we have seen some confirmation here with the Bitcoin ETFs. You can see we've had a lot of big green candles coming in, and we've also had a couple of billion, near billion days. We had 1, 2, 3 of those coming in. And this, look, I think this is nothing. I think this $1 billion we're going to start seeing $2, $3 billion, $5 billion candles coming into this ETF. It's going to be game on. And of course, as you guys know, as there's less Bitcoin around, then there's more money coming in. Then we get a nice little mega uptrend there, and we get up to these big prices that we're expecting. But of course, making big moves. FBTC are doing pretty well also at the moment on the old Bitcoin ETFs. So pretty cool. Now, we haven't looked at this chart for a while. I don't know what this is. We've got a deal on it at the moment. We got this chart. This chart is the Bitcoin halvings, right? So every vertical green line is the Bitcoin halvings that we've had on Bitcoin. And we can see that we've when we have the halving, we slightly have this sort of little consolidation, slightly creep up here back in 2016, 2017. And that was a glorious run, right? That was a glorious run. We're talking about $580 all the way up to, near high, what was it, 20,000 or something, 19,000 or something. So it was 9,960 or something like it was pretty high. And then we came back down. And of course, it was a period of time there. We come into the Hex period, right? Before Hex launched with the old Hex Bitcoin. And then we kept coming up here into the launch of Hex. The launch of Hex was right here. That's when the launch of Hex was. And it came down, of course. We had COVID, of course, February and into March, April. And then we had the Hex go well on Hex, right? And then it powered up, and the market powered up too. And we got all the way into, I must say that on the end of 2020, we obviously, November here, around here, we had the big payday on Hex, right? And then, of course, just after that, we had in the end of December on the 31st, right here, as the market's running up to its first high, we had the God mode candle, the New Year's Eve God mode candle, right? So we had 2 God mode candles in 2020, and then, of course, the big payday as well. And then, of course, we came up to the top of the first move, which Richard talked about, and he called that pretty well, right, on the old move there. And we got up to, 60, 61 or something, around there, 59, I think it was. And then we came back down, and then we had the second candle, as Richard calls it, the Judas candle in November. And, of course, just before that, like October or so, we had the peak of Hex, right? Hex peaked out, 50 cents, let's say 52 cents, depending on where you're looking. And we did the 10,000X, right, the 13 parabolics moving up to that play. And then, of course, the market topped out, and then it just went down. So did Hex, right? Hex went down, 99% or whatever. And, of course, then we had all the periods of the PulseChain, right? PulseChain sacrifices, PulseX sacrifice, right? And then we came in eventually. We got the launch there on May. So this is when PulseChain launched, right here. And 13th of May. And, of course, the 10th of May fork, 13th of May launch. And this is right here where we launched, right? So we're not off the bottom. The bottom was down here at 16,000 on Bitcoin, but we weren't too far away, right? We weren't too far away. And we were up at like 26K or so. And then game on, right? Game on after that. And the markets have been rising on Bitcoin. And of course, PulseChain hadn't really benefited much. We had lots of black swan events, obviously, just after this launch right here on the 31st of May, which was not too long after. We had the SEC come in, right? So that dampened everything down on the old PulseChain. Kind of the dark clouds came over, and we had a lot of money exit the chain, right? And obviously the price went down on Pulse and PulseX as well. And we've had lots of black swan, grey swan events. But now here we are with Bitcoin. We're at moving up through this very long, very long consolidation period with a couple of rises here. And so we're still expecting the banana part of the curve, right? The banana part right here. And I think we're very much there. 68 days, we're going to have trade deals. We're going to have a tax bill go through. I think it's going to be just absolutely great. So I think we're just on the precipice of this banana right here, right? And we do have a little bit of support for that from, of course, Richard Hart talking about God mode candles too. So we'll get into that. But I think it's pretty awesome. In fact, I want to go to the big screen here, and let's go check that out, because this video is very important.
Not a mystery. It is a of the debt cycle. They are rolling the debts. They are doing the same thing each cycle. It's not to do with a halving cycle, nothing to do with any of that. It's all driven by liquidity cycle and funding of debts. Each phase, we get phase 1 of the banana zone, banana number 1. The corrective zone, banana number 2 comes. Another correction, banana number 3. So this is the banana zone. So that's what happened in 2020, 2021. Off we go. Sorry, that was 2017, which again looks very similar to this one. That was the last one. Here we are now. It can't be clearer to me. I've shown you the macro evidence, the technical evidence, the sentiment evidence. Everything here suggests to me that hold on to your hats. Don't fuck this up. Don't lose control of your tokens. Don't use leverage. Don't get your wallet hacked. Just sit with it. Be careful.
Well, it's kind of ironic, right? Because he said don't get hacked, but he had 70% of his bags apparently, and we saw an interview of that in PulseChain, right, which is the one that got hacked. We just covered it with CETA's protocol, and yeah, they have managed to freeze a lot of it. 160 mil out of 220, but it really broke one of the golden rules, right, which is to have a decent diversification, not just on chain, but across chains. Right, you need that diversification. So, there is a lesson to be learned. As smart as this billionaire is, Raoul Paul, you do need to keep basic principles in play, so very important lesson there. Interesting.
Don't get FOMO. Do all of the right things, and we'll go up to the next phase of the correction zone. That's going to be harder because the next one that happens, we'll have a 35% drop, and you'll all say, is it over? And you'll definitely be sure it's over, and everybody on Twitter will tell you it's over, and it won't be over. By our work, we suggest that because of the elongation of the business cycle, because rates were higher for longer, the forward-looking liquidity suggests that, again, probabilistically speaking, without any guarantees, this whole thing goes into Q1, maybe Q2 of 2026, which would align with Trump's, trying to win the midterms as well. So everything's lined up for us. I think it started. So keep the faith. Keep building stuff, and let's keep driving Siri forward with all of this. Thank you.
I'd like to say, you guys are at the right time, at the right place in the market. If you're brand new to crypto, you've come in. You haven't had to go through a bear market. You haven't had to go through ups and downs. Really have come at the right time. And now is the time, right? If you want to still pack your bags because you've got an opportunity, but it's the window's closing because this thing's once it re-rates real fast, and it's game on, right? It's game on there. So the good times are about to roll. It's all we can say. And of course, that's highlighted very well there by Raoul Paul. All right. So pretty awesome. So you can see he had the two big, that last chart he had on there. He had the peaks from the last bull market. And then, of course, he had the two little peaks that we've had here, of course, following the halving there back in April 24. And of course, you can see here that we're about to have this banana part, right? This banana part is upon us. And of course, we've got so much fundamentals there. The ETFs, the sovereign backing, state backing from Trump, the Trump strategy with the tax bill and with the trade deals, it's game on, right? There still will be geopolitical issues, right? So I don't want to downplay those. People have free will and they can do all sorts of stuff there. And there's also people trying to undermine world peace, right? Like the Europeans. There's definitely Europeans leaders that are out there trying to undermine Trump getting a peace deal with Russia, right? So that is the play there. So we're still going to have those issues in the background, but the actual, from an economic point of view, this is going to be spectacular. It's going to be unbelievable the amount of money that comes in here. All right. So that is the halving chart. Thought we'd go through that. Finally, Ethereum, of course, the puppy that could. The puppy that could. We got a couple of comments in the chat first. Crypto Utah, Superman is the man. I appreciate that. Big shout out. And a big shout out to the community, right? So kind of cool. We got Brian in house there. He is right. Crypto says the most consistent stream on PulseChain Techniques. A big shout out there. Appreciate that, Crypto Utah. Yeah, I am a crossover streamer, just like many others. There's Crypto Graphics, there's Brandon, many others out there, the crossovers. But of course, I cover most of crypto. So there we go as well. We got Hexcrader in house there. Gold market cap 22.17. Yeah, so there we are. Huge. So I said it's 27.30. Really depends on where the Bitcoin sets the gold prices. And of course, which website you're looking at. But 22, that's on the conservative side, I would say. So 22 trillion, and we're only at 3.5 trillion at the moment on gold. So there's a lot of upside. What's at a 7x on the old Bitcoin minimum, depending on which numbers you're using. We got Christian Nolan out there. Howdy, y'all from Arizona. I should try and say that with an American accent. Y'all. No, I can't do it. There we go. That was a hashtag fail. I miss Arizona, says Brian. Hey, I miss Arizona. I've never even been there. I've watched a lot of movies. That's all I can say. All right. So that is Ethereum at the moment. We've got, looking pretty good to $2,644. And yesterday we got a high of 2,713. So we're definitely moving up here. We're above the orange line, which is a 200-day moving average. And that currently is sitting around about $2,451. So $2,451, we're above that at 2,646. So we've got about a $200 clearance from the 200-day. And also we've got the 50-day here at 2,231, rapidly re-rating, right? Rapidly re-rating. And of course, it's still in a death cross, right? We had this death cross back on the 14th of February. Boo, the death crosses. It played out and down we went. And of course, we are coming back pretty fast here. And you can imagine after this consolidation period right here, that we could get a really nice big move here on Ethereum. And of course, the same catalyst that Bitcoin has, Ethereum's got as well, right? ETFs and all the other fundamentals that we just talked about earlier there for Bitcoin. And so, this is coming up very fast to get a golden cross. So we could see a nice hyper move here in the old Ethereum, right? Hyper move. And of course, if we do get things like interest rate cuts as well, potentially, then we could see, maybe that's one of the triggers. Seems one of the obvious triggers potentially, apart from all the trade deals and everything else, that we could start moving us up here. And of course, the big tax bill, probably the biggest one there as well. So game on is what we could see here with Ethereum. So pick up your bags while you can. There's a nice little consolidation range as well. So, we've got different, there's one train station. This is another train station. There's another one back up here. And there's another one back up here, right? So you're still on one of the early train stations. That's all we can say there. Ethereum will probably do something ballistic. Now, I'm going to talk more about Ethereum when we get to the Magic Carp ride, because I think that's really important to talk about. So we'll get up to that too. Now, some of the big news we're going to talk about as well. Let me just look at what I've been talking about on my X post the last wee while. Like I say, we had this awesome interview here with SJ Wild, and that was just fantastic. So she's such a lovely person, and of course done some amazing stuff serving PulseChain community. And the Pulse, look at the PulseTour.com bus is just fantastic, and she's got her own garden in that video as well, so you can check that out. We also had some stuff here from X Game. This is going to be I think this is going to be a huge viral game. Do not shade it, of course. Join our Telegram group. Of course, we've got the first dedicated Telegram group to X Game. You definitely want to join that. But this is going to potentially be huge, right? So there's some secret source behind this X Game. And of course, we're going to have lots of big promotion budget. Not that we don't normally see that on PulseChain, right? A promotion budget, there'll be a big one for there. And of course, there's going to be a massive referral program, as well as a full-ranged, fully licensed crypto DeFi casino. So I think it's going to be massive, and we're going to see that blow up. So this is bullish. This is another bullish foundation for PulseChain. Very, very exciting. And that's from a fire whale, right? One of our two big whales on PulseChain. And that, the whales on PulseChain are playing a really strong role at the moment, and you're going to see them really build up and add a lot of value to PulseChain. So show them a lot of support. That's fire whale, Rack and Michelle, of course, and ignore all the silly people out there. That these people fud their own bags with bad information. It's just bad. Don't be those guys, because it's just not worth it. All right, so let's jump into some of the other news that we've got coming up. Rackham Michelle, of course, in the video there, and I want to play a little video from Rackham. So we're going to do that. This is from the Highest of Stakes. The Highest of Stakes released this. That they've just had a meeting. It's also in the Monster thread, right? If you go to the Monster thread, you can see that story. And Rackham Michelle goes off defending Richard Hart, then immediately panics. Sorry, Rich, don't block me. This is why we're making part 2 of the Highest of Stakes movie. So they've been having a meeting recently where they all got together to talk about that. The next of the chapter needs telling. So we're going to watch this little video here from Rackham Michelle. I hope you guys enjoy it. So let me play this one.
I think he knew enough that it was inevitable that he was going to launch his own network. He needed to. There's just not enough people doing it right. There's not enough people warning their communities against potential rug pulls. Step out, go to YouTube, and look for other network founders warning their community. It doesn't exist. And he's made prediction after prediction after prediction that, to his credit, have come true. stop robbing him of his credit. He did it. He earned it. I'm going to, here, Rich, I'm going to stroke your ego. You did it. Go you. Now get to work. Yeah, he earned it. So, yeah. Sorry, man. I didn't mean to fly off the handle like that on camera. Sorry, man. Just kidding, Rich. Don't block me. Again.
All right. So, yeah, obviously, Rackham's got a good sense of personality and comedy there. But, man, this is, pretty exciting where this might lead. So, as you guys know, I am looking forward to part 2. I do want the part 2 to be very positive, and I think this was very positive as well. The other thing, of course, is it really talks about something about Richard, and people talk about his price calls. I think his price calls are good. He's made some very definite good price calls, particularly the first top in the last bull market. But I actually think his market calls are just unbelievable. They're almost Oracle-like with his market calls, and he's called out virtually every CeFi sort of company and protocol that went down over the last couple of years. He's pulled them all off. I mean, he's named them before that even happened. And many of the CEOs of those CeFi and TradeFi groups often used to say that Richard was the scammer, and yet they're the ones, often going to court or going to jail even. So I think that's been incredible from Richard. I think it has been an absolute master play. And for people that listen to him, they would have, avoided those particular protocols, right? And PulseChain's been down. PulseChain's been down 99% and other stuff like that. On Hex particularly, and it's been down a lot. But it's here to fight another day, right? Whereas those other ones have all gone. They're gone, right? They're gone bigger. Whereas PulseChain is here to fight another day, and it looks like its moment for greatness has arrived. Really, the Black Swan, the Grey Swan events time is gone for the most part. Now we're always going to have some hiccups here and there, with some unethical people, right? But I think that we've got so many White Swan events, so many Magic Cup Ride Pumpamentals coming. It's unbelievable, and we see those rolling out in the last 3 to 4 weeks. If you haven't been watching, it's been magnificent. I think that PulseChain, and think about what I'm saying here, I think PulseChain is really already in its bull market. So think about that. Obviously, the price chart's not gone through the roof, but think about what's actually launching and what money has actually started to come in. And I think we're already in that bull market. So, and it's going to be a long one. I think it's going to be pretty cool. We saw in that video from Raul Paul, he's talking about Q1, Q2, 26. And I think that's true. And I also think that we're probably going to even have a better time under Trump's golden age of America. I think it's probably going to blow minds how amazing the real economy and financial markets operate over the Trump era. It's going to be pretty glorious. All right, so that is it. Now, we also had some stuff here from Highest of Stakes posting out here, the loneliest rich man in crypto with what wealth really costs, Richard Hart, an exploration of isolation, connection, and hidden psychology. Now, this is obviously an opinion piece on Richard, and it's based on some of the interviews that they had. They've definitely got some quotes from Richard in the behind that, so you can definitely read that up on the Highest of Stakes on there. I'm not going to go through all this, but you can check it out. That is a little opinion piece on things that Richard actually said behind the scenes there, so you can check out that one. And then we've got some images as well. I think this is possibly from recently. Actually, this is the old footage actually. So we've got what's the RG3 there and Rack and Michelle sitting on the couch there, and of course the Highest of Stakes crew there filming in there. And these are some old clips that we're sort of flashbacking to. As they're talking, and a lot of the stuff I don't think made it into the. I think a little bit it made it in. A lot of the stuff did not make it into the film. In fact, Rack and Michelle pulled out, probably for personal reasons, is what's happened there. So that is all from the Highest of Stakes. You can check all that stuff out in yourself in the detail. But man, I just really like that little clip there from Rackham, and of course, something I've been saying. So hit the spot there. So let's post that. That is the chat there. The Highest of Stakes. So things are on the move, and of course, if they get another publication of Highest of Stakes 1, perhaps, and of course do High Stakes 2, could be a lot of fun. And I hope they head in a very positive direction. So I think that's kind of where the market's going to be in headspace. So kind of neat on that one. Now the other big stuff, of course, is stuff that I've been talking about. So this is when the alpha starts dropping, and this is a multiple thread. This is a multi-thread, and I'm not sure a lot of people understand what I'm saying here. So I'm going to actually every time I do it, I'm going to make it more obvious and more obvious. I've used a bit of a cake analogy for this, but I put it at the top here. I tried to make it black and white here. Follow the money. Follow the money. A sweet message to PulseChain cake lovers. So a fun little playful analogy here. PulseChain right now is being baked in the oven, and a beautiful layered cake is being made. And of course, the layered cake is the fact, coming back to my point about I think the PulseChain bull run has already started, and it's this layered cake analogy that I think really drives it. So yeah, the official PulseChain bridge, this was yesterday, of course, is break even over the last 24 hours at 915,000 inflow and outflows. And of course, this changes from day to day. And you can see a chart there. This is that was 24 hours ago, number one. And of course, that was the most recent hour, number 24 there. You can see in blue all the money coming in through the bridge. These are in $1,000, right? So we had a couple of hours where they were over 100,000. But at the beginning, 24 hours earlier, we had a big exit of supply. So this red line is money leaving the chain. Now that one little hour wiped out all the inflows that were coming in. You can see the blue line was above the red line. The red line's outflows. You can see the blue line was above the red line most of the time. So we're actually up about $200,000 or so for the day. But at the beginning, there was a negative outgo. Now, if you dropped off this hour, of course, and moved to the next hour, we'd be up a lot, right? So we'd be up a lot. It just depends what your baseline is, a bit like, fake climate change numbers, right? They always manipulate the baseline, right? So this is kind of where we are on the ins and outs here for what happened in the 24 hours. Now, that was a break-even day. Sometimes we have more money come in. Sometimes we have less money come in. And, of course, recently, and you can see it in the monster thread, we had $16 million in net coming in over the bridge onto PulseChain. So things have already started to ramp up. $16 million. I'm not kidding you. Coming back in and obviously also increasing value of existing tokens as well. But we had millions of dollars coming in and, of course, an increasing prices as well. So the bridge value went up a lot, about $16 million or so. Now, obviously, that will change from day to day, week to week, but it is a clear sign that things are on the up and up for the old PulseChain. Anyway, let's get back to our cake. How many layers in this cake? Time to follow the new money. And, of course, this is where the key is. I think we're already, as I say, in the bull run for PulseChain. And, of course, the chart will show, the price chart will show it as we move forward in time because the money is going to be unrelentingly coming onto PulseChain. This is a dream come true. We don't really have an ETF, an exchange trade fund or anything like that. We don't particularly have official institutional backers. And so where's all the big money coming from? Yeah, retail is so-so. We've got a decent, little niche retail book. We've got a potential market for retail much higher, probably 10 times higher maybe, under the right circumstances with lots of promoters and lots of FOMO in the markets. But where's the big money coming from, right? So this is kind of leading into some of that. Now, we talked about Firewell doing his thing with the X game and a big budget for promoting. But now we've got these on-ramps coming, and this is when the money starts to flow. This is when we got more pipes, as it were, coming into the bathtub. Imagine that. Maybe we only got one pipe, the official bridge, plus a couple of little ones, BNB and things like that. But imagine plugging in more big pipes into the bathtub. This is basically what we're getting, right? We're filling up that bathtub, and it's pretty exciting, plugging in one after another. So love me the ramp now cake layer. Now this obviously every layer is more money coming into the, making the cake, right? Coming into PulseChain. On ramps like official ramp now and HexScout are making onboarding directly to PulseChain simple. Now there's big things here, right? So we've got more on ramps to PulseChain happening right now as we're speaking, right? Right now as we're speaking, we've got them directly linking in. No using the official bridge, no using on-chain to on-chain sort of technology. Which is great. We've got PulseLN, we've got Change Now, Simple Swap, that sort of stuff. But actually, and other smaller forms of bridges. But these are major bridges. This is major stuff. This is stuff that really moves markets. And so directly to PulseChain. And of course, importantly, bring in new capital. And so far, get this, $1 million in 9 days of new capital. New capital, $1 million. And it's just the beginning. If you annualize that number, that's $40 million per annum. Just this one layer. Remember, the cake's a multi-layered cake. Let's go back and look at that cake. That cake there's got multiple layers. This is just one layer. And we're now adding potentially an annualized 40 million, maybe more, right? Maybe way more into this one layer, just one layer of the cake. So it's very, very important what's happening right now. HexScout will no doubt expand offerings, markets, and money. And that's what they've been doing, right? We're going to talk about that too. So let's go to HexScout. And this is the big news that they had. Breaking. This just came out only hours ago. Ramp Now's PulseChain rollout is now complete. All core tokens are live. All core tokens are live. Hex, Pulse, PulseX, and including they've also added an Ink token and USDC officially live as well and available to buy instantly on PulseChain. This is an absolute game changer. I cannot say it well enough. It is just so incredibly important, and that's why I say we really already are in the bull market for PulseChain. Now, the chart's going to, the chart matching to the volumes coming in, that's going to come in waves, right? Come in waves. So you just be a bit patient for that. But what it suggests to you is you better get your bags packed. we might be on the second stop for the train. You need to get on. You're not on. If you didn't get on at the bottom, you need to get on now. That's kind of the idea, right? You do your own due diligence, not financial investment advice, but you see what's happening here is pretty massive, right? It is a big deal, and that's why I'm taking a lot of time to talk about it. And this is just the first sort of post that I've made on it. I'm going to have a second post coming out maybe today or tomorrow on this topic. So you definitely want to check that out. So that is the stuff they have. They said, but here's what many miss. Hexscout.com/buy offers the best free fees in the ecosystem. A special deal we negotiated exclusively for our community. And of course, here's some of the fees, right? 50% lower fees compared to RampNow's default. So you can use RampNow, which is the provider for this. And of course, that was via Sun Minimal, right? We can talk about that soon. 3 to 5 minutes buy time, so super quick. This is what retail wants. People no coiners, people that don't know anything about crypto, they don't have to jump bridges and do things like that. They just want it nice and simple. This is huge, right? This is massively onboarding. No KYC for up to $85. So if you're a small retail player, you want to do small stuff, no KYC, right? No ID upload, and of course we love that in DeFi. It's as easy as shopping around as well. So an $85 if you're a small retail, you want a DCA. That's perfect for that, right? You've got as easy as shopping, so that's how easy it is. Onboarding is simple. This is absolutely awesome. All routed through PulseX liquidity, and of course that's via Batias, right? Every buy strengthens the chain. This is huge, guys. Massive. And of course, what was important that we had recently done, it was controversial, no doubt. And of course, we saw James Maria do it with the Tropa PDI, and of course that's now reversing. We also saw Katie and XUSD team pretty much shut down, I think, the majority of PDI Maker. And of course, that stopped the major part of the exploit. And of course, draining out of the bathtub. Imagine something draining out of the bathtub, right? That was kind of something like that. Now we've got all these pipes going into the bathtub, filling up the water, all the liquidity, all the money coming on, and increasing the chance that we're going to have, price parabolic after price parabolic coming up. And of course, we may very well be at that last stage before you get onto the bullish train stops. That's all I can say. So it's a pretty big deal there. So that's pretty important. Now let's have a look at some of the rest of this, because this is going to get awesome. This is really, really exciting stuff right now. This is the stuff that you guys have been wanting. This is stuff that I've been wanting, right? Everyone's been wanting this. It's now here. So it's time to get excited because it really is a big deal. While others on board through exchanges or bridges, HexScout delivers a direct fiat to DeFi access. No detours, no friction, no guesswork. Just click, pay, and own. We're proud to have brought RampNow to PulseChain, and now let's make it count. Start here and buy now. So that is pretty exciting. Awesome stuff. So we're going to repost that, and game changer. One epic cake layer here is so bullish for PulseChain. It is. It's absolutely massive. So. And we're going to put PLS and PulseChain in the mix there as well. I know hashtags are kind of in favor, but there we go. All right, so one epic cake layer is so bullish for PulseChain. Let's go on that. So nice stuff happening there from HexScout, and I think that's pretty awesome. We're getting lots of cool people commenting on that too. Very, very neat. Now that brings us into, that's just one layer. Remember our cake? That's just one layer. I don't know if you choose the green layer. It is one layer there, and then of course that moves us on into more layers, right? More layers. Number 2, layer 2, layer 3, layer 4, more cake layers in play. And of course, we got Banksa Official is expected to be online within weeks, right? So that's the team out of Australia working for Sun Minimal. And they had a few hiccups, right? Because their price feeds were going to CoinGecko, which has kind of got slow moving flat prices as opposed to dynamic LP prices through PulseX and Batias, for example. And so they're having to fix that up. It's taking a little bit longer than expected, but which should be back on within a few weeks, right? That's potentially huge. And that's going to be really fun to see that. Banks, of course, is quite large as well. A pretty established player in the space there. I'm just having a look at their X count. You have 24,000 followers on there. Now, there's also a third on-ramp likely, and that's going to be announced soon too, coming out from Sun Minimal as well. And that is potentially, it might get announced on the 3rd of June, right? So they got the Austrian World Summit, I think we covered the other day. And of course, that's going to have Arnold Schwarzenegger there and other celebrities. It's going to have Sun Minimal there, of course. And that could be huge. So maybe we'll get an announcement there. Maybe. I'm speculating there. But that could be the 3rd. We expected that by the end of May. I suggest to you that maybe we'll get that on the 3rd of June, that third on-ramp. And so that's another pipe coming into our bathtub and filling the water up on PulseChain with money and cash and crypto. That's pretty much it. Then, of course, we've got on the 4th, we're going to have a fourth on-ramp coming in Q3 2025. So that's going to be fun to see who that is. And I suggest to you that we're going to have many more coming out from Signum and these organizations. I think it's going to be pretty exciting. This is mega, guys. Honestly, we had the official on-ramp plugging into the bathtub. We had one layer sitting in the cake, perhaps on top of another layer that we're going to talk about in a minute. But now we're getting more and more and more. The bathtub's filling up. The layers of cake. We've got more layers of cake coming in. It's going to be a very tall cake indeed. It's going to be pretty exciting. Whatever analogy you want to use, this is hyper bullish. And you want money. You want money. Show me the money. There's the money. The money's coming. The access routes are there, and the marketing will go with it. It's going to be pretty exciting. So then number 5, cake layers. This is a kind of a special one. Now, obviously, cake layer 5, this is very special indeed. And there are many things I could say about this. It has some presuppositions or something like that. It's you got some different issues with it, but I'm going to point those out because we like to have the balanced coverage. Sun Mini Meal is ushering in a whole new paradigm on PulseChain. Now, I'm saying this. I do want to put on the side Love.io. Now, we interviewed Anders from Love.io the other day, but Love.io is not where Sun Mini Meal is. So they do, in some ways, have some of the similar model. They have their Luffy.com shop store, which does luxury products. But I would just see it as something that's not really yet to go because they're waiting for their app and they're waiting for the right time in the market and they've got other stuff. So that could be possibly, I don't know, let's say a smaller version of Sun Mini Meal in the future. It could be. So we're going to keep an eye on that. We'll just park Love.io over on the side there, right? It's definitely got potential. But Sun Mini Meal is here today, and it is substantial. And it could be a global superstar, right? It could be a global superstar here. So let's check this out. So Sun Mini Meal is ushering in a whole new paradigm on PulseChain. I cannot say that enough. That's why I've said it twice. Let's pause here for a fun ontological question. I just put this in for fun. Is Sun Mini Meal bringing the stock market? This is there are different ways to look at this, right? Is Sun Mini Meal bringing the stock market to PulseChain or PulseChain to the stock market? You decide. Think about it. This is a big food corporate, right? They have got kind of the holy grail of health food, right? Low calories, 800 calories versus all your nutrients that you need, right? So you're not having to eat fruit with all the sugar. You can just get the nutrients, right? It's very efficient, right? Now it might be different taste for somebody, but they do have the chocolate version. But this is kind of the product that's in there, and it's been in Europe, right? It's only in Europe. We've got Germany, Austria, places like that. And of course, this is potentially huge, right? So they're changing the paradigm, right? Because you think about it. So they are basically, we're going to talk about it in a minute, but they are basically, bringing the stock market in some ways to PulseChain. And of course, they're also bringing the blockchain / PulseChain to the stock market. It's going to be really interesting. And we're going to build out that theme. So you decide, though. In any case, it's a profound concept for this layer of the cake with some pretty special sprinkles, right? So we got back to our cake up here. We've got these nice sprinkles on it. It's pretty special sprinkles, and it really adds a lot to this whole analogy. Now, let's get into the math. You guys love math. So Sun AG's buy and burn is stated as 20% of net sales. So 20% of net sales. So not revenue, but sales. You will hear people use these terms interchangeably, but actually it's a bit lazy because the official there in the white paper is net sales, right? So just remember that. So 20% of net sales. So in simple terms, you get like refunds and all sorts of stuff. Different types of fees like that could play into the net sales. So you take revenue, you take off some things like refunds and things like that, and you end up getting to net sales. That's pretty much it. So what typically is a range for these sort of refunds and other things like that? Well, it's typically 5 to 10%. So I've taken a 7.5% range here. I think it's pretty reasonable, and that will get us to net sales, right? So revenue in 2024 was an impressive 80 million euros. That was 91 million USD. Now, this actually hides how impressive this is, and I'm going to say that in a minute. So Sun AG or Sun Mini Meal was on a show in Austria called 2 Minutes for 2 million euros to raise capital, right? They're already doing spectacularly with their funds, but really it was about getting a bit of extra cash flow and also for capital, and also getting the network and the ability of the billionaire or millionaire that they were trying to get to invest, right? There's a whole panel of 6 people, rich people sitting on this panel in this Austrian TV show called 2 Minutes for 2 million euros. Now, Sun Mini Meal pretty much made the record. They ended up getting one of the billionaires or millionaires on there, and they ended up doing 4 million euros and they did it for 6.5% of the company, which gave them a valuation of about 53 million. And they had revenue of about 80 million euros. So pretty incredible results there. And of course, they made record TV as well while they did it. And that was Wolfgang, right? Wolfgang's wife presenting there on that show. Now, one thing I want to say about this is that the first half of the year performance versus the second half of the year performance was dramatic. So I think it was something like 12 million euros in the first half of the year and something like 70 million euros in the second half of the year, getting over 80 million for the year. So that second half of the year was something like a 435% growth rate. That is the key part there, right? So obviously when you're small and you're going up through the stages and you've got the super product, right, which is pretty hard to compete against because it's got all the magic secret sauce ingredients. It requires the right soil and production, manufacturing. It's pretty difficult to replicate, right? So it's actually a pretty unique kind of special product, right? And it is kind of the holy grail of foods, healthy foods, all the nutrients, but also lose calories, right? So it's a pretty big deal there. And it's going to fit a big part of the market, but not all the market, right? So it's it's going to be pretty. It's got a huge market it could grow into, obviously in the food market there. Now, 20% of sales, so revenue in 2024 was 91 million US dollars. And so, how big is this layer of the cake? Right, we already know that they're growing from every 6-month period. They've been growing at about 430%. So you can have a lot of assurance that they're going to be substantially bigger and bigger and bigger. How big? Well, every business always going to come up to challenges, and of course the challenges are typically expanding production. And the other one is if you're going to go out of Europe and you're going to go global, which is what Sun Mini Meal is going to do. You're going to have to deal with the growth of going to other countries, complying with food requirements, all this sort of stuff. Although I would argue that they're probably in the most difficult one just about in Europe, right, with those requirements. So if they can do the most difficult, they're probably going to have an easier time in the United States and other places like that. But man, the market that this could reach is ginormous, right? It's ginormous. Now, in 2024, they had 70,000 customers. Just to give you the background, 70,000 customers. And of course, they were making over 80 million euros. $91 million. Now let's take their number, right? So they're going to do a buy and burn for their token on PulseChain. So they launched a token on PulseChain, a soil token, right? They forked it recently, and they now have no longer control over it, and all it can be done is burned if they so choose, right? And of course, it's being one of the top performers on PulseChain at the moment. Now, revenue in 2024 was impressive, $91 million. 20% is going to go to buy and burn that soil token, and that's going to bring capital onto PulseChain, right? Because all that money is coming onto PulseChain from their sales. So we've now got corporate sales coming on to PulseChain in a significant level. And of course, a level that's going to blow minds, right? And this, got to remember, there's another secret little source to this. Just like this is like bringing the stock market, they're going to bring it's like buybacks on the stock market coming to PulseChain, but the buybacks are happening to the soil token on PulseChain. So hopefully that's kind of clear, and it's going to be buying and burning the token supply. So there's only less than 5 billion now. There's 5 billion, but there's less than 5 billion tokens now. Obviously, some of them being burned already with some testing going on. And this is very hyper bullish. Now, one thing I want to say, and I'm going to get to that shortly, is the kryptonite part of this. But I think that's pretty exciting where it's going. So let's get to the bullish numbers. 91 million times 92.5%. After the 7.5% is removed, that gets us to net sales is $84 million. So that's kind of the net revenue number we're going to be using. Remember that 20% of net sales will be used for buy and burn of soil token on PulseChain. So 84 million times 20% equals circa 17 million US dollars per year. This is another pipe of money coming onto PulseChain, typically probably through euros and USDC, and then coming to buy and burn buy Pulse and then burn soil token, right? This is all capital coming on. So on one hand, if you're holding soil token, it's a big bullish thing for you because that price could go up dramatically. On the other hand, it's bullish for PulseChain because the capital is coming onto PulseChain, right? So it's another layer on that cake. Coming back to that cake again, it's another layer, and it's a big layer. It's a big layer. It's a layer that's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So how big is this cake going to be? It's going to be ginormous. It's going to be ginormous. So let's get into that. So that is $84 million. Now, how much of that 84 million at 20%? Well, if you use that, so 84 million times 20% equals circa $70 million. That is massive. Now, remember, coming back to our first layer, we've got minimum probably. This is obviously assuming the same rate of money coming in is 40 million. And now we have another one here with 17 million coming into the chain, right? That's not to mention the impact of layer 2, 3, and 4 coming as well. So it's mega, mega big deal. Now, this is only the beginning. OMG, I said, an impressive cake layer with special sprinkles is promised, and one that will only get bigger, much bigger. What the heck, yummy cake layer. Now, this is going to be much bigger indeed. Now, they've got different targets for 2025, but the only way you get access to that is by joining the strategy club. So if you want to join the strategy club, you're going to see the future numbers, and they are mind-blowing. I can tell you not. They are mind-blowing numbers. And of course, I think very much the 2025 numbers are very realistic. Remember how I said between the first 6 months of last year, they increased their sales on the second half by 435%. I think they're going to be very attainable with the numbers that they already have now. So if you want to find that out, join our strategy club. The link is in the video description, of course, to join up. Now, the one thing I want to say about that is that they have a 5-year plan. So the 5-year plan is this. So they had 70,000 customers last year. The plan is they're going to be going global, of course, outside of Europe, global. They are going to be, their target is 5 million holders pretty much of SOAR token. 5 million, which if the holder count is 5 million, that means an implied value in a linear equation would be about 28 million customers globally. So you're going from 70,000 to 28 million. That's a big, tall order, right? So let's just say they just go to 70 to up to 5 million in terms of holders. At the moment, the holders of a SOAR token, 12,600 plus or minus, right? And now we're going to be heading towards 5 million holders. You're talking about getting in early. This is like getting early on Bitcoin, like getting in early on Apple, get early on any of the Magnificent Seven that are in the stock market. This is like getting in early on this, on SOAR token, but it's on PulseChain. It is massive. It is the juggernaut on PulseChain. There is nothing like this on PulseChain. The only one that could conceivably even make moves like this, we're going to talk about next. This is one of the two biggest things on PulseChain. Nothing else will be bigger than this. And I'm not talking about anything else you can see out there. Anyone that anyone else is covering, it is not going to be bigger than this. This is ginormous potentially. Now, it's got some caveats. So we're going to put into that. So, well, all these layer cakes make up a new mega magic carpet ride cakes. This is a new mega magic carpet ride cake. And the reason why I say mega is because Sun Mini Meal and these other on-ramps could be absolutely ginormous, particularly Sun Mini Meal by itself. If it achieves these goals, right, which it's been doing so far very well, I've already painted some substantiators for that, it is massive. Now, the other big thing that Sun Mini Meal is doing at the moment, they are doubling their production line, and it's almost finished, right? So this is very, very bullish indeed. So they've got a new production line coming online. It is going to be absolutely amazing. So, well, all these they make up a mega new magic carpet ride. So this is magic. So we've got a magic carpet ride on top of a magic carpet ride. OMG, mind blown. And it's going to be very important. Now, you have to be in the SOAR token to get the direct benefit of this magic token. So that's the one you have to get. And obviously, you have to do your due diligence. You can find all the future numbers and alpha in our strategy chat room. So you can join up to that. I'm going to have a discussion on that this Saturday, Kiwi time, which will be Friday, America time at about 10, 11, I think it's 11 p.m. Eastern. So that's coming up the strategy room. So that's a real secret source there. And I'm going to be answering a lot more questions. It's going to be pretty amazing. So, but wait, there's more. Say what? How is this even possible? Is this mission impossible? It is indeed. And of course, if you've seen Tom Cruise lately, he's been posting out a lot of cool little clips around his next Mission Impossible, which looks insane as always. Was he the last true movie action hero? Pretty much, I think. We got PulseChain SAC, of course. Yes, another magic carpet ride. Yes, the big fat foundation layer in this cake. So the foundation of this cake is what we've always talked about is the traditional magic carpet ride. And so we're going to get into that now. And that is, of course, the PulseChain SAC. It is ranked at number 2 on the Strategic ETH Reserve, or more affectionately known as the Magic Carpet Ride. So now we have what? The Mega Magic Carpet Ride on top of the Magic Carpet Ride. And why do I say mega? Because mega implies that it's bigger. Well, because potentially it will be. It really just depends on what happens with this Magic Carpet Ride. This Magic Carpet Ride could be pretty mega as well, but it just depends on the way it's applied. And of course, Richard Hart's a pretty smart guy. Let's see what happens with this. But at the moment, of course, we're sitting there at number 2. And of course, the PulseChain SAC there is up there as well. Now, people were making comments was, how does the PulseChain community know that this money is then going to even make it into PulseChain in some form or another, right? Maybe not just buying, maybe it's collateral backing, a Bitcoin or P Bitcoin, or maybe it's collateral backing some protocol like a maker or something like that to make a peg dollar. There's a number of ways this money could be used, right? And of course, as Ethereum goes up in price, it's also going to go up in price, all that good stuff. But of course, the fact that Richard put this out and sort of said, "Hey, why haven't you got this on the list here?" makes it even more likely now than not that it's going to be used for the benefit of PulseChain, pretty much. So the potential mad cut ride of 171,000 ETH is currently worth 451 million at the time of writing yesterday. And of course, when ETH price returns to $3,775, it will be the original value of 645 million US dollars. Of course, what happens if ETH reaches 7,555, basically doubling in price? Then the magic carpet ride is worth a whopping $1.3 billion. Now, there's irony in this number. There's irony in this number. Now, you're going to only understand the irony if you know what I'm talking about, or if you get to our strategy club. That's the only way you're going to know what the irony is about this $1.3 billion mark. There's irony in this, and it's within the post. The irony is within the post that I've written, right? So that is pretty huge. So that could be where we go. What happens if ETH even goes higher, of course? Then it's even worth even more. Now, also, obviously, this money could be applied in many ways to pump the chain. It could be used to back the assets on the chain, which would be probably the smartest way, or it could be just used to buy the chain, or a bit of both, right? There's many ways this could be used, but typically an asset backing idea is typically the right way to go, because you can make instant money very quickly, right, on the chain. That's kind of the smartest way. Now, the other way of making instant money, of course, is pushing the price up, right, because you're making all the values go up, but we may see some sort of combination. It's going to be interesting to see how that actually is played out by the man, the myth, and the legend. There are, of course, many ways it could be used but its ranking by Richard Hart above makes its use in one or more ways more probable than not. Now, I've got a little, more probably than not. I've got a little mistake there. Than not. And then there is, of course, Hart's law. Everyone knows the liquidity tied together again. And of course, PulseChain is the ocean, right? All the other tokens on top of it, including Soil, Signum is on top of that, as well as a ship on the ocean of Pulse. And of course, if Pulse goes up, then in US dollar price, and of course against ETH, then of course so does everything else on the chain. And if everything else goes up relative to PulseChain, then that goes up even X's times X's, right? So this is why we've got a magic carpet ride, a mega magic carpet ride on top of a magic carpet ride, because we get X's on X's, right? X's on X's. And the X's that no one else is going to achieve out there, just about. You'd be very lucky indeed. It's going to be mega, mega awesome. And of course, that's huge. Match that with the recent moves of lower inflation for Inc and PulseX. Remember, Inc has been moved down to 0.03 Inc per second, so only 2,000 Inc per day coming out of the farms. And of course, the liquidity, the thinner liquidity pools resulted, and that means that the market can move up and down much faster. And of course, the other one is PulseX, Hex as well. It's also moved down. So I'm supposed to add in Hex here, but Hex has also moved down from 7.6 Hex per T-share down to about 1.6 Hex per T-share. So big changes in the inflation rates there. All early signals of the moves that are going to be made. And of course, then Richard comes out, of course, with this ETH strategic reserve following after that. So things are going to be pretty exciting. That's why I said we are already in the bull market for PulseChain. Just the people don't know it yet. Most people, some people do, of course, and you guys do, because I'm just talking about it now. If you don't already know already, supportive of the colossal cake sugar-fueled trend, and this is what we're going to get. This is kind of the end result. We're going to get a colossal cake sugar-fueled uptrend on the old PulseChain there. Well, I could write on the cake toppings and show the next level of implications, but I must go to save the world. Obviously, Superman and the Kryptonite Show. I'll be back, though, with next level of goodies, or you could just join Strategy Club and find out all the alpha. You will also love this cake in the bull market. I will too. Cheers, Superman. So that is the little post there. You guys can share that around and, of course, get that out there. And, it is the biggest thing, the biggest post on PulseChain to date. I'm telling you. If people understand what I just wrote, they will understand that there's no bigger post out there on PulseChain at the moment. That is as big as it gets, and you can see why. Because we got a mega magic cup ride on top of a magic cup ride. In fact, there's actually even more coming, but I'm going to keep that for later on. This thing is going to be absolutely huge. Just spread it around. That's all I can say. Magic cup ride, and there's more installments coming. Times 2, and bam. All right, so this is going to be pretty epic. So get into that. It is going to be exciting. All right, so that is the play there. Now, if you want to join the Strategy Club, it is in the links in the video description there. All right, let's have a look. We have some more comments in the chat there. Let's see here. We got, I'm going to go all the way back up here before we move on. We've got lots to talk about. I said we're about an hour and 28 minutes. I only planned to talk for an hour and a quarter, but we're probably going to be going for 2 hours here. Because I have not finished with the Pumpamentals. It is going to get even better and better. Let's see here. We got Spirit in the house there. Hey, good. We got Saya token in the house there. Big shout out. The Ferret trading Ferret, as we say. Saya. Big shout out there to Spirit. And of course, good evening, Superman. A big shout out to you. Bang bang, says Brian. Bang bang indeed. We got Radon and the crew in the house as well. Big shout out to you, Tyndall. Let's go Radon. Absolutely. And of course, Rising Stars on PulseChain. And thanks for the shout out, Superman. You're most welcome there. And big shout out to Saya. A great launch, actually. And I did say earlier, I don't know if you missed it, but I said, wouldn't it be wonderful to see little video clips of Saya making those trade moves? I would love it. So if that, you may already have that planned, but that would be something really cool to see because I think that's so much fun and so new to PulseChain. Radon for the win as well, says Spirit. Absolutely. And you're going to get some Radon soon too. Nice work there. Yeah, big shout out to the Radon crew and Crypto Bro and the rest of them doing an amazing job there. Crypto Utah says Superman is bullish AF, and so am I. LFG, yeah, hashtag family channel too, fan channel. But yeah, I get it. I'm bullish as well. Mini Meal Rock says Brian absolutely does. And Spirit says, what's it? Good night, chat. I got to sleep a little before work. Thanks again, Superman. Yeah, probably missed my comment there, but hope you're having a good night there. And little Saya also sleeps well. He said, Juggernaut, done deal, just saying, says Brian. And definitely join the strategy club there. That is the link if you want to join up today. That is the post that I just read through, which is probably the most bullish post on out there. There's nothing with more insight. And, of course, the next installment is going to be even better. So you guys want to check that out. It is showing you the road to Valhalla, as we say. Better and better, you rock boss, LFG. Hey, thanks, Brian. Appreciate that. Big shout out. Now, if you haven't followed the channel, don't forget to smash the follow button on X, the subscribe button on YouTube. Definitely do that. That really helps a lot. And, of course, leave comments, smash likes, and share is the biggest thing you can do as well. So pretty cool stuff happening there. All right. Yeah, Heart with Dog says mouth-watering thread. And Cheers and Yummy says Poseidon there. So definitely get out there and repost that. So I'm going to repost that myself actually right now. So check that out. All right. So some of the more news we had, of course, we talked about Hex Scout, very bullish. Now, Ramp now, of course, is the source of this new on-ramp that Hex Scout is using, and it's pretty exciting. We're seeing other influencers other than myself talk about it. PulseChain City is being built. Official ramp now is building out the highways. This is your final chance to be early. Absolutely. So big shout out for that. And what else we got there? We got a big update from official ramp now. It's 12 hours ago. We've officially completed our PulseChain token rollout. Hex, Pulse, PulseX, USDC, Inc. are now live. And, of course, Hex Scout there being the front end there. And, of course, new partnership alert. Not only Hex Scout, but Batias itself has fully integrated ramp now. Now, from the looks of it, this API setup here can be used for anybody out there. So I'm actually going to be looking at it myself for something that, I've talked to you guys with obviously covering PulseChain as an influencer, but also moving into promotions with our promotion lead being Crypto MVS out there doing a great job with the Monster Thread and the X Spaces. We've got a lot of stuff planned on a roadmap. We're supporting a lot of rising stars on PulseChain. And on top of that, of course, we've got our own roadmap for doing things. We've so got more stuff coming, more publications, and more spaces to be doing. So it's going to be a fun job, fun thing here during the bull market here on the Crypto Night Show. Now, a new partnership alert here is Batias has fully integrated ramp now live at app.batias. Batias users can buy PulseChain tokens seamlessly via SEPA there, Visa, Apple Pay, and more. So we've got more ways of paying. So this is so much easier for people, right? And it's virtually, a couple of minutes. That's all it takes. Today's launch of USDC and Inc. marks the final milestone, and the PulseChain community energy is off the charts. So originally, if you remember, we had Signum Minimal coming on with Banksa and with Ramp now, and they were buying on-ramps for Soul token, right? So I didn't even talk about this in that last post, but of course, Sun Mini Meal, we talked about the corporate buy and burn, but in addition to that, they've got 70,000 customers, and we're expecting on the 3rd of June, then potentially one of the announcements they could have is the wallet that they're going to have for their customers. So that's a whole ton of no coiners and coiners. There'll be coiners in there too that will have direct on-ramp to buying a Soul token and other PulseChain tokens on their website, which is pretty amazing. So they have a private online accounts there. They're going to be able to have their own wallet and access the Soul token on PulseChain. And this is a lot of no coiners. There'll be a lot of no coiners. People just interested in healthy food and living, they'll be able to buy that there as well. So pretty big deal. And many of them will have free tokens as well if they're in the point system. So that is the key there. So the one sort of kryptonite for Sun Minimal is that a lot of people swap their points over to tokens. And so many of the 12,600 people holders are people that have just got those tokens through that process. One could argue free, others could argue through their loyalty and their sales, right? They're buying the products and stuff like that. So that's going to be interesting to see that. A lot of people are going to get instantly very wealthy there with that program, obviously. So remember, that's going to impact the way the market moves with Soul token, despite the massive, immense buy and burn. So just one caveat there on that. So very important. Now, the other two things, of course, Sunny Mini Mill, just before we move on, is that, they've got to be going concern. Well, so far they're doing very well indeed, and they bring on the second line. And secondly, they've got to manage that growth globally, which I'm sure they'll do pretty well, because Wolfgang has experience in the United States, not just in Europe. So I think this is pretty awesome. So today's launch of USDC and Inc. there marks the final milestone. Pretty awesome. Massive thanks to Hex Scout, Matthias, and of course Richard Hart and the Pulse fam for making this happen. Let's bridge fiat to DeFi fast, secure, and compliant. The future is now. So absolutely huge, guys. Absolutely massive there. Fantastic news. Fantastic news. News from Ramp now. And awesome stuff there. So kind of cool. I'm going to put PulseChain there, of course. Let's go. And the PLS. Nice. All right. So that is looking good. And we're going to put a little fire on it. You guys know I love my fires. We'll put a party on there. Nice work there from Sun Mini Mill. Very, very cool indeed. Now, awesome work. Awesome work. I got to spell awesome properly though. That's how it goes. Awesome work. And let's put the rockets on this. Let's do rockets on that one, eh? We'll do rockets. And nice. And that is where we are there. So that is kind of cool from Ramp now. Now, the next one, of course, is Matthias as well. Matthias, of course, the biggest DEX aggregator on PulseChain, also helping Ramp now really get that right price calls, right? So that people get the right deal. And, of course, the fees are applied correctly, the right price. This is an issue that banks have had that they're fixing up. They will be back, of course. Ramp now is live on PTSD app alongside a bunch of minor updates. The buy menu on the app now features Ramp Now's powerful integration. That means buying PulseHex, Inc. and USDC just got a whole lot easier. Huge shout out to Hex Scout team for the efforts. Their push brought official on-ramp into the mix when it made some serious progress in no time. Feels just like the beginning. What's next might be even bigger. So that is a big teaser there. Take note of these comments, right? Take notes of these comments. So what's next might be even bigger. And do not shy. There's something else as big as coming from these teams. And as we get more of this intel out, we will, we'll be covering it, of course. We'll keep building and take PulseChain where it truly belongs. So very, very bullish in there. Let's close out of this there. So I'm going to pull this out because I want to repost that because I think it's pretty awesome. So we're going to quote that and was it? We're going to say incredible work at Matthias. Let's see here. Matthias, I really like this line, and it is, of course, what's next? Might it be even bigger? This is going to be another layer on the cake, guys. Come on, this could be absolutely amazing. So yeah, just keep a lookout. That it starts raining and then it starts pouring, right? That's the old thing. And of course, let's put the old fire this time. I finally got the fire up there. That is it, and pretty cool. Actually, I didn't even get that on there because I didn't have the right spaces on it. But that's pretty awesome. So let's go. That is epic work, and we're looking forward to that, right? So let's go on that one. And of course, I'm running out of words, but epic, epic. That's all I can say. Epic. Let's go. That's all right. All right. I've only got so much time. I'm on live stream after all. So that is kind of cool. We're posting out in real time. That could be a whole new show, right? Whole new show. Now that gets us into, of course, PulseChain, the results. So those are the bullish things, guys. If you're not bullish, be bullish. It's amazing. The last 3 or 4 weeks just been unbelievable, and it's only ramping up from here. This is all new money flowing in. This is what you wanted. Where's the money? Where's the money coming? Well, it's coming. It's coming in. New people are coming. Onboarding is coming. Mass adoption is coming. And a lot of it's going to be driven out of the United States and, of course, Europe through different means here. So it's going to be pretty awesome. We're going to obviously Canadians, Australians, Kiwis, people from every part of the world, Asia. Really, it's going to continue to expand. South America, you guys know it's going to be a lot of fun for sure. Brian says better and better. You rock, boss. I appreciate that. And their product is anti-obesity. That's right. That's the old Sunday mini meal. Could do pretty well in the United States. Morning all. They keep bringing the alpha suit, man. I appreciate that, Craig. Big shout out to you as well. And of course, yeah, it is pretty awesome. Let's have a look where PulseChain is at the moment. Day 747 Remember, that was a full system state fork of Ethereum on the 10th of May 2023. We went live on the 13th of May 2023, and here we are 747 days later. The price of Pulse there sitting at quadruple 04, and that is sitting just under resistance, right? 4,200 is the mark, and we're just underneath that. So once we blow that 4,200, it's game on for the next wave, right? Game on for the next wave, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. So that's down 1.3% today. We've got PulseX at the moment, quadruple 0366, down 1.9%, and that is at 1.41 trillion in buy and burn, 7.16% of PulseX being bought up and burned. An Ink token at the moment, $1.82, down 1.2%. So just down very modestly today. So we're basically kind of moving sideways, and we've got inflation down dramatically. We've only got 55 million tokens and only 2,600 in emissions per day. And of course, that is a bullish sign for the future. Hex at the moment, 82 hundredths of a penny on PHEX, just pretty much flat, down slightly. And EHEX there at 24 hundredths of a penny. Combined price EHEX and PHEX is at 1.06 cents. Very interesting level that it's sitting on at the moment, moving sideways above 1 cent combined. So keep a lookout for that. Now, obviously, we've got bullish things happening on EHEX with Hex Flex from Dipcatcher. That's extra bullish things, right? So everything like that always adds value to the supply reduction and, of course, the demand increase. So more bullish things out there as well. In fact, I'm going to do a whole video on that. It's time. All right. So because I'm going to bring it all together. I'm just picking out some of the big stuff, but there's a lot of big stuff. And so I'm going to have to pull it all together. And that's why there's more alpha thread coming. 2.2 million beats at the moment is where we're at. 3 cents for a PulseX swap. And the bridge, the validators there hit a new milestone, over 49,000 again. So even though we lost those 3,000 validators, a week ago or so, we have climbed back up. And I think we're ahead of where we were, not 49,564 validators there. So the market, this is another bullish sign of PulseChain. The validators have rebound and, of course, even higher than they were before. Bullish news here. Bridge at the moment. Let's have a look at that. Bridge at 96,600. So obviously we're getting a lot of new capital in. Obviously that reflects, the asset makeup of this. So DAI there sitting at 22.2. In fact, I've got a little snapshot, haven't I, from a couple of days ago. What day was this? 24th. What are we on now? 28th. So 4 days ago. Let's see where this lies in 4 days. So, the DAI's down a little bit, about 150 grand. EHEX at the moment is down about 400. So this is what's moving us down. This EHEX, right, has moved down a bit. So we're down, maybe 460,000. So take the DAI, 460. So that's 600,000 from DAI and EDAI. ETH at the moment, 6.7. So ETH has been the one that's moved up big time. We saw that the big player come on with another 555 ETH and a couple of 55 ETHs as well, sitting at about $4 million in his portfolio the last time I checked. So he's lifted the value. We had 6,700 ETH the other day, 4 days ago. Now we've got 7,469. So that's the big offset there. So we've gone pretty much from 17 million up to 19.6 million. So that's been pretty bullish, right? So that has made us up about $2 million. So that's pretty cool on the old ETH. USDC was 16.3. We're now at 16 and a quarter. So only down about 60K there. Coast, of course, was 9.8. Coast is pretty much still at 9.8. We did see some nice little 200K moves there. I suggest you we're probably going to go over 10 million pretty soon on the next move. So keep a lookout for that. Coast, of course, is another direct fiat on-ramp, right? $9.8 million has come on from Coast to the Coast stablecoin there. So we've got the official on-ramp. We've got Coast. Now we've got Banksa. And, of course, the front ends with Patias and Hexscout, and more coming. Banks are coming probably within a few weeks, maybe next week. We'll see. And, of course, more after that, maybe a third one coming there as well on the 3rd of June. We shall see about that too. USDC was 5.3 million. We're now at 5,060,000. So we're down about $2.25 million on USDC, and Bitcoin was 2.9 million. We're just up about 50K on Bitcoin there. So we're seeing some moves and shakers going on here. But man, with Sun Mini Mill, buy and burn has not even started. Okay, we talked about that 17 million. That's the minimum amount, guys. I'm telling you, for 2025, the numbers are very much different. So you got to get in the strategy club if you want to find that out. It is pretty awesome. And this number here is going to get insane over the bridge. So this is just the official bridge, right? So the more stuff we have, this is the official bridge. The more stuff, the additional stuff for Banksa, and of course on Ramp Now, Hexscout, etc. It's all additional, right? So very, very important for that. All right, so let's get to the total volume at the moment. We're coming up to how many hours? I mean, we really are doing a mega long live stream today, but it's worth it, right? It's worth it. because we're covering such important material today. An hour and 44 minutes, but we've got a good crew watching at the moment. Don't forget to smash the subscribe button and hit the follow button and share the channels around. That's the number one thing you can do as well. Now, we've got $38 million in volume. We're doing this, I think we had this yesterday, and I think maybe even the day before. We're at 285,000 in transactions, so the volume's gone up. This is great news. We're sitting down around 20 million, and then before that, we were down at like 12 million, and now we're back up at 38 million. Bullish. And then we've got all these on-ramps coming with new fresh capital. Come on, guys. Get excited. That's pretty awesome. All right, so Blaster token, been around for over a year, up 39% today, so that's a nice little move there. Time dividend from Internet Money Wallet, up 26%, so big shout out to KG out there. Teddy Bear from James Maria, so obviously money coming back in, and we're up 19% today. We're up 44%, I think, yesterday. So Teddy Bear still moving higher. Oversold there, been around for 3 months there. I think there's a pump tires too. That is up 12% there. BFF versus Finvesta. Finvesta up 12%. Finvesta itself up 9% there, coming from OG WebChef, right? The big printer tokens. So they are back in the mix here in the top, 10, 11, 12, 9, 10, 11, 12. Missile as well is up 8%. So nice little rebound in those printers. We've got Incognito. Someone mentioned that earlier. That's definitely up 7% there. Nice move there. And UFO, which was up, I think, yesterday as well with PDC. That is up 7% there. Hidden Vault has been around for 11 days, relatively new, up 4.6%. Mooney Mona Lisa. This was people talking about this being another a kind of a Troper James Maria thing, but more tied with the new Teddy takeover token. And of course, it's up 4% there, but I don't know if it's really played out quite like that. I know that King token had some second layer LP webbing versus Mooney. I'm not sure how that's going either, but it's worth checking out a little bit. Mafia token from Jacob, of course, our super dev with the peer-to-peer, on-chain bet. He's done I think a live stream with Cold DeFi, so you might want to check that out too. Get some more alpha from that, and of course that was on-chain bet coming up there as well. Your Mum up 3.8%. Dow token, another pump tires there, up 3.7%. Yeah, up token there. This is from Haunted. Of course, he's got other projects, think like Validator X and things like that, which you can do PulseChain validating from with pretty high yield. And this is backed on the back of Pulse. You got Up and UpX there, so I think they're all both related to each other. And of course, PDC there matched with UFO, doing pretty well. And of course, this is massive, this community, right? PDC, one of the big communities on PulseChain. And a big shout out to Prairie Banana out there. I may very well have an interview with Prairie Banana coming up. So if that's booked in, you're going to hear from him as well. Just a really, really great guy, but very smart guy as well, coming to PDCC. So we're going to look forward to that. The Fitzgerald as well, comparisons, just been out for 2 months. That's up 2%. And of course, the big juggernaut we've been talking about today is up 1.8% today, 14.27 cents. Now, the one thing I was going to say about Sun Mini Meal, and this is the one we're talking about. Oh, shit, this is the new pair, isn't it? This is the new pair, the smaller pair. I don't know where the other one is. It's probably down further. But this is, will it be able to reach $1 billion in the next couple of days? Because it's only like 5 days to go. So may make it. Maybe someone will come in and pump it later. But it would require getting from 14 cents up to 21 cents. So we'll see how that gets on. So those are kind of the leading ones at the moment on the chain. And what they get up to, that is green. This is the default view, of course, up to number 36. But wait, there's more. Yes, there's more. We're going to be covering more today since we're on a mega live stream as well as a mega magic up, right? We're doing mega everything. We've got Diamond Hand in the house there. ETH looking strong. Certainly is looking strong. Yeah, getting over 2,700 was pretty bullish sign as well. And of course, we need another $1,000 or so on that, $1,100 on that to get back to break even for Magic Upride at $645 million worth. But it happens pretty fast, right? Happens pretty fast. And of course, we're consolidating on Ethereum and at the top end. And if we can break to another level, that will get us up to 3,700 pretty quickly. Game on. All right. Now, I wanted to talk about a few here. We're going to go through some of the, the PRC forks. So at the moment, let's jump through some of these. We got the old PDI here. So obviously, this is, front run. This is what Coexistence 7 Stevens, is it? Coexistence Stevens. This is, who else? This is, Somi, of course, they cover this. They're big champions of this. And of course, this has been going up there. We're at, they've got a new format here. Have you noticed that? There's a new chart format. Or did I pick something different? Maybe I picked a different thing here on the chart. But it looks very different, doesn't it? Anyway, so this is 0.3 of a penny. Seems to have plateaued around here at the moment. We did see that big holder with the bringing over the 555 ETH did come and buy some PDI. Also bought some top hat as well, which was pretty interesting. But yeah, that is at 3/10 of a penny, pretty solid. Now, if you'd been in Strategy Club or if you'd been in our Discord, you would have picked the bottom off this. Just letting you know that. So join Strategy Club today. Honestly, it's a pretty cool place to be. We've got pretty good people in there. And Brennan, he's our in-house TA guru, and he's very accurate. So big shout out to Brennan out there. All right, let's jump forward here. We've got a couple others here. I like Mega. It says Heatrock. Me too. I like Mega. LFG. Yeah. All right. So let's get into it. So that is PDI. It's holding at 3/10 of a penny. Now, we do know that there are protocols coming for this. Better Bank from Nicky. He's out of the XUSD team, looking for something for the old PDI. We may see other protocols as well have been rumored around this too. And of course, you've got Somi out there, championing the old PDI narrative there. Now, obviously, this is not the biggest project on PulseChain, right? I've been talking about at the moment. I would argue very clearly that Sun Minimal is going to be a juggernaut. It's going to be pretty huge. Now, if it gets to $1 billion, it makes it a unicorn. But I think it's going to be potentially our first $1 trillion protocol. If it keeps to the roadmap, if it achieves its 5-year goal, you're talking about potentially for a $1 trillion company potentially on PulseChain. Now, obviously, there's a lot of free coins at the beginning, so that's the kryptonite of it, of course. But I think the amount of capital coming on could be pretty huge. Now, I'm going to talk more about that as well because they're going to have on the 3rd, they're going to have this big summit, and it's going to be a big deal. They're going to have 3 investment bankers there, so bank firms, and of course, there could be some big deal done with the investment banks with Sun Minimal. So, that's a little bit of alpha drop for you right there. Jump into our strategy club. We're going to have a big session on this on Saturday. So 11 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, or it should be Friday, 11 p.m. Friday for Americans. It will be about 4 o'clock, I think, or 3 or 4 o'clock for New Zealand time. All right, so that is pretty cool on that. Now let's have a look at some other stuff on the old forks. Wrap Bitcoin. Look at this Wrap Bitcoin re-rate. Woo! This is pretty awesome, right? So this is pretty $575. Isn't that crazy? Let's go to the daily chart. There's the daily chart here. Man, oh man, oh man. So it got all the way down to $113, and now it's at $575, been at over $600 on the old Wrap Bitcoin. So obviously there's a big narrative about Richard backing the Wrap Bitcoin, and of course also with his Bitcoin, for example. So there are a couple of narratives. Obviously, Richard's got access to other money other than just Magic Outride, right? Potentially a ton of Bitcoin, potentially a ton of ETH from the AA lobby and other stuff like that. There's a lot of other capital potentials. Obviously, his own private fund, his own private wealth. But this is obviously even without being backed, it's obviously a big narrative that Bitcoin's going to be rallying, right? So Wrap Bitcoin and PulseChain will probably rally too. To some varying degree. What is the law of convergence? Will it get to 1-to-1? Well, if it does get collaterally back, that's potential that it could get close to 1-to-1 wrapped. That'd be pretty interesting to see that mechanism. But of course, it's not a given, right? So we shall see in that space. Very speculative, but hey, look, I think Wrap Bitcoin's going to do very well. I've said that for a long time, regardless. So there we go. And especially with more recovery with James Maria, Atropa, and all that sort of stuff happening as well. Obviously, we've got other coins in here as well. USDC. Let me just jump through some of these, actually. We've got Atropa. Atropa's doing pretty well back on there with the James Maria moves. Obviously, we've talked about it being one of the top coins the last couple of days. So that's been doing pretty well. Let's go to the daily chart there. And you can see it's just consolidating at the bottom end of the range here. It'll be interesting to see whether it has a bit of a pullback here or whether there's a lot more capital to come in to support that move up there from James Maria and the crew over there on Atropa. And of course, we'll see how that plays out. Just looking at a few more here. Let me scroll down. Obviously, Teddy Bear, Teddy Takeover here has had a bit of a retrace there, 51%, pretty severe retrace there. Some definitely big players taking some profits from the looks of it, relatively speaking. USDC, which is another P fork, right? Sitting at just 1900th of a penny. So that there is, probably about a 50% discount or something, or 30% discount, sorry, to PDI. And there's Tether behind it, right? They're both at the same there, 0019. If you haven't got PDI, maybe those two are your alternatives, right? You can pick them up at a discount. Maybe they'll have some sort of convergence later on. We shall see. So that's kind of the play there. What else we got going? There's lots of other ones, right, that are out here. I imagine a lot of the staked versions are all not pumping as much with the PDI maker, largely shut down. That's kind of it. So that's kind of where we are. How are we doing for time? An hour and 53 minutes. We're probably going to wrap up there. So let's go back into the mix here. What else? I don't have anything else that I was going to talk about. Let me jump away and go back to our layers here. Yes, let's do it. So this is our final video on this. So obviously, this is what could be coming up for PulseChain. No, we've talked about all these on-ramps, all this expansion. It is massive. I cannot understate the potential value. Sun Minimeal is the juggernaut protocol on Pulse. If it plays out its corporate roadmap and achieves that, it is the juggernaut. The only competitive thing to Sun Minimeal is if Richard Hart did some sort of big collateral backing asset move with the Magic Carp ride, and that may be dependent on the crypto cycle. Now, here's the secret sauce. So this is the part I didn't tell, and that is Sun and Minimeal. Imagine PulseChain. It will go through crypto cycles just like anything else, even with the Magic Carp ride, right? Because people take profits. But Sun and Minimeal, it's a corporate. It goes through economic cycles and business cycles. So it's going to, when the crypto cycle is down, it's going to be still buying every week. I don't know how they're going to do their particular buy and burn, but every week it's going to be based on net sales. It's going to just keep coming in. It's just going to keep going. We could be in a bear market. It's just going to be doing net sales, coming in. If the price does get sold off with the cycle, it's going to be buying all those coins and burning them. Coming in, money's coming in. The tokens get redistributed from the original holders to everybody else, and the money keeps coming in and coming in. It's completely crypto cycle free, relatively speaking. People can still sell into the crypto cycle, but the money keeps coming in from the business every single weekday. I don't know how they're going to do the profile. Could be randomized. It's going to be pretty amazing, whatever it is. Minimum 17 million based on last year's numbers, but this year's numbers are even bigger. Remember, I said from the first half of the year to the second half of the year, 435% increase in revenue. What's it going to be for 2025? First half, second half, they're doubling their plant manufacturing. Big announcement on the 3rd of June. The numbers potentially could be huge. Those are the two biggest alpha drops you're ever going to hear on PulseChain at the moment, apart from somebody else coming in doing something of the same magnitude in the future. And of course, when you get a couple of big players doing hyper success and the whole chain gets lifted up, what does that attract? New other ginormous players onto PulseChain. And that is the alpha of today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Take care and enjoy yourself. I'm going to read the final comment. It is pretty awesome. Clip this, says Hexter Mars. Absolutely. That is about as good as it gets. It's going to be pretty alpha. All right, take care. And I'll see you guys in Discord and on Telegram and on the show tomorrow. It's going to be pretty fun. We're going to have some more big interviews coming up. A big shout out to the wider team in the Crypto Night Show. We've got a great bunch of people. And of course, special thanks to Crypt MVS out there doing a great job with the Monster Thread. All the obviously rising stars on the Monster Thread doing a great job as well. And yeah, it's game on. It's game on. Things are really about to get real. I think implicitly the bull market has started for PulseChain, and we'll see that play out in the chart in the months ahead. It's going to be pretty awesome. All right, take care. Bye for now.